soldier of fortune. Gotta walk through a fire for what's important. The warrior's blood through your veins is coursing. Kill for hire, soldier of fortune. The whole world's watching every move. Take your shot, don't act a fool. All you got and all you ever need is one bullet in the chamber. Really needs to take your game, but ain't nobody gonna save you. So what you gonna do? Ain't nobody gonna save you. So what you gonna do? Do or die, you're a mercenary. One of a kind, that's your burden to carry. Go and make them proud, do what's necessary. Oh no, do or die, you're a mercenary. Now the whole world's watching every move. Take your shot, don't act the fool. All you gotta one bullet in the chamber. Really needs to take your game, boy. Ain't nobody gonna save you. So what you gonna do? One bullet in the chamber. Really needs to take your game, boy. Ain't nobody gonna save you. So what you gonna do? Now the whole world's watching every move. Still your heart so much to prove.
It's Thursday. It's time for Mystic Racing League action. Welcome, everyone. I'm Ellis Thomas, joined by Chris Smith in the Slingshot Racing Media booth. Tonight, we're bringing you live coverage of race number 9 of the Fall Creek Plumbing National Series from Mystic Racing League. And there's no better place for high-speed drama than Talladega Superspeedway. Buckle up, everyone. It's going to be wild tonight. Dega, as fans affectionately call it, is not just the longest oval on the NASCAR circuit at 2.66 miles. It's a place where speed, spectacle, and superstition collide. Its massive layout allows cars to reach blistering speeds, made all the more intense by the pack-style racing and the infamous Big One that can strike without warning. Story of Talladega begins with NASCAR founder Bill France Sr., who originally envisioned a superspeedway even larger than Daytona. He scouted sites in North Carolina, Atlanta, Birmingham, anywhere along that I-20 corridor, but nothing clicked. Eventually, he landed on an abandoned airfield in Lincoln, Alabama, and transformed it into the Alabama International Motor Speedway, which officially opened on September 13th, 1969. It was rebranded as Talladega Superspeedway in the 1980s, and since then, it's become the stuff of NASCAR legend. But Talladega's legacy isn't built on speed alone. Over the decades, the track has developed a reputation for the eerie, the unexplained, and the downright chilling. Whispers of a curse have followed the speedway for years. Some say it was built on a sacred Native American burial ground. That myth only grew stronger during the 1973 Talladega 500 when, not long after the tragic death of Rookie of the Year Larry Smith, then veteran driver Bobby Isaac abruptly pulled into the pits, climbed out of his car, and declared he was done racing for good. Reason? A mysterious voice told him to stop. He listened. Chris, there's just something about this place, whether it's the thunder of the draft or something maybe even a little more supernatural. Talladega always delivers the unexpected. With 80 white-knuckle laps ahead, these drivers are going to need to have courage, composure, and maybe even a little help from the racing gods if they want to make it through the chaos. What are you expecting to see when they drop that green flag tonight?
Well, Ellis, it's not just that this track is physically bigger, it almost feels like it's just larger than life in general. For a lot of drivers, this is an opportunity race. A lot of drivers that maybe aren't typically finding themselves in the hunt for a win, this might be their chance to possibly grab a victory tonight, and maybe etch their mark, make their mark right here and secure a playoff berth tonight. 80 laps around the Talladega Superspeedway tonight, about 28 laps on the tank of fuel. Stage breaks at lap 20 and lap 40. A couple drivers going home possibly tonight as well. We're going to have to follow all those stories over the course of the night.
Yeah, it's going to be something we talk about shortly, along with several other stories, as you mentioned. But before we get there, while qualifying is going on, very important qualifying, by the way, we're going to hit up our favorite pre-race tradition here at Slingshot Racing Media. Everyone rise and remove those caps, if able, for the playing of the national anthem. We'll be right back. All right, back here from the virtual Talladega Super Speedway, getting ready for some Mystic Racing League action. Just a few moments left in qualifying. Got some championship points to go over, Chris, as well as some stories to set up the race for the fans at home. Let's go ahead and take a look at our current point standings. Evan Janick, man, just continues to have a dream season here in this Fall Creek Plumbing Series, and he continues to extend that lead. Chris, what are drivers going to have to do? Does anyone have a chance to catch him?
Yeah, they definitely got a chance to catch him. This is an opportunity race, like I mentioned before, for some of those drivers to possibly be able to catch him. You know, anything can happen here at Talladega. Big crash might possibly, take out a number of drivers tonight. And maybe some driver can gain a lot of points. But he's definitely been very consistent and been, carrying a lot of speed week in and week out here lately.
And just remember, you're looking at the points right now. You see that there is some drivers highlighted in yellow, some drivers highlighted in red. Outside the top 10 means you're not in the chase. The final 10 races of the season, win and you're in. Top 10 make it. So there's still plenty of time for these drivers, especially as the summer goes on, to make their mark in this series and work themselves into that championship conversation. Now, let's talk about some of the stories as qualifying gets ready to wrap up, Chris. This is going to be one drivers have to really strategize from the beginning. How do you avoid the big one? Talladega's notorious for a wreck that claims half the field, 15, 20 or more cars. It's inevitable. It's probably going to happen. It's a question of when and where. And if you're the driver out there, is there any way you can avoid the big one?
I mean, there are some strategies that you can employ. Some drivers like to try to race really hard and try to keep themselves up in the first few rows. Some drivers like to fall to the back and maybe keep themselves, clear of some danger back there. I think where you don't want to be is in that danger zone of maybe about 5th to about 15th. That seems like where the big crashes normally start. So I would try to avoid that area if I was on the track tonight.
Well, another thing drivers are going to want to avoid, side drafting. This is going to be one drivers want to try possibly to slow down the cars next to them, especially as the laps wind on. Is it ill-advised or is it a wise move?
It's definitely a wise move if you're trying to gain positions and if you don't have a lot to lose, especially at the end of the race. Now, when you have a lot to lose and a lot of things can go possibly wrong with running as close as, you might have to run to somebody to side draft, it's probably not the wisest of moves early in the race. So I think that we might not see that until we get towards the end of the race.
And we got several drivers who are going to be out here, Chris, working as a team. I'm looking in the Discord chat right now. David Moyer, Aaron Espy, Gino Volante, Stephen Gill, they're all going to be working together. I believe we've got 5-star Racing, Holston, Pollock, Evan Janick. That's a stout combo. Medford, Wasaki, Matthew Kopp all working together in a team. How big of an impact does teamwork have on the dynamic of a race at a super speedway like this?
It definitely plays a role. You got to have friends out here on super speedways. You got to form those bonds, if you will, those friendships. And you might come in with a plan, and you might be working with somebody, but sometimes those plans can fall by the wayside as the night goes on. So definitely going to be keeping our eyes on the drivers who work very well together with each other.
And pit road entry and exit, man, that goes along with the teamwork. You got to come down pit road with some of your teammates or at least friends, someone to draft with. And if you miss pit road or you crash on pit road or you speed down pit road or spin the car coming on pit road, that could be the end of your day simply by that one single mistake. So we're going to be keeping an eye on all of those stories. It's going to be a lot to follow over the course of the race, folks. But if you're just tuning in, it is going to be a fabulous race. 80 laps. Side by side, we'll see 3 wide racing, maybe even 4 wide racing at points over the course of the evening, Chris. But before that, let's talk about 28 drivers out of 34 who attempted to qualify made the field tonight. The cars going home include Brandon Thornton, Joshua Thornton, Brandon Berardi in that 05, who had a strong run at Bristol last week, Malcolm Capo, Robert McKay, as well as Kane Haas, and Chris, this is a big one. Christian Barnes, I don't think it took a lap tonight. Christian has had a strong season, top 10 the last 5-6 races. He's sitting currently, I believe, with an average place finish of 6th position, 3rd in points. That's a big shakeup. Going to be a lot of opportunities for drivers to leapfrog him in the point standings tonight. But that leads us to the starting lineup. Adam Holston is on the pole tonight. He's coming from row number 1 with Curtis White in the 06 to his outside. Jacob Cochran, we've seen that 84 have speed. He's coming from 3rd tonight. Brandon Willard, Chris, this is a story of qualifying. He's had some stroke of bad luck in recent weeks, but Brandon Willard is back on the map with a 4th place qualifying effort here at Talladega. Chris Medford in 5th. Brett Wren, we're going to be watching that heart rate closely all night long, Chris. Brett Wren's got a fast hot rod under his feet tonight with Aaron Baum a row behind him and Reggie Kime to his outside starting 8th. Thomas Hartzog, a name we haven't heard that much, coming from 9th in that number 98 car tonight, along with Derek Jewett, a car that's been fast. This might be an opportunity for Jewett to get in victory lane, Chris, starting 10th. Douglas Wasaki in the 11, starting 11th tonight. Joey Beam coming from the outside of row 6 in that number 41, starting in 12th position. David Wallace, we got some Wallace fans in the chat from what I understand. He's starting 13th. They'll be glad to hear that. Jackson Hatala was fast in practice. He's fast in the draft. Starting 14th in that 09 tonight. Ronnie Foster coming from 15th in the 6th, with Matthew Kopp coming from 16th in that 44. Meanwhile, Brett Wren's teammate Alex Pollock going to be 17th. His teammate Evan Janick deep in the field. This is a dangerous position tonight if you're Evan Janick. Chris, I believe we're getting ready to go green. The rest of the starting lineup is going to scroll across the screen. If you're Evan Janick, you're his crew chief. What are you telling him on that pit box right now? He's the points leader. He's going to be right in the thick of the action. Oh, they're going to give us another lap. Yeah. Go ahead and tell us while we're looking at the rest of the starting lineup.
Yeah, I think that if I'm Evan Janick, points leader right here, there's a couple different mentalities maybe. Feeling pretty comfortable in the points, feeling really comfortable about how he's been running lately. Maybe he feels like he's got nothing to lose tonight. Maybe it's time to go play a little bit. Maybe that's what he's going to think right here and try to charge up into that field, throw some, caution to the wind here. But, on the other side of this, starting 18th deep in the field, that's right in that danger zone I mentioned before, really close to it, where we typically see these big crashes occur. Maybe he decides he's going to take it easy and maybe wait for that big crash to happen and charge up there towards the end. Got a couple different mentalities tonight.
Well, one of the drivers who's going to be starting up front, Chris, I think we got to bring him in the booth right now, Brandon Willard. We'll see if he can grab a word with him. Hey, Brandon Willard, this is Ellis and Chris in the Slingshot booth. You got a copy?
I do have a copy.
Hey, man, great qualifying effort starting out there. You're going to be in front of a lot of the action. What's the strategy tonight? You going to try to stay up front, or you going to maybe dip to the back early and wait for that big one to happen?
Well, last night I think I learned a lot by just kind of riding and being patient. We're only granted one fast repair, so I think you really just got to be patient. A lot of these drivers are going to elect to go for stage points early on. I don't think we're going to be one of those drivers. We need to afford or really just get a good finish here. We haven't really been at the end of a lot of these races this year, so I really would just like a good finish. We got a top 10 last night. We really would like another one, so just being there at the end and getting another top 10 would be a bonus for us.
All right, man. Well, good luck. Pull those belts tight. Grip that wheel hard. It's going to be a wild one out there for Eddie Laps. Have fun out there.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir. All right, so you heard from our fourth place starter, Brandon Willard. He's going to be coming from that outside of row number 2. I believe we left off with Evan Janick, 18th, Isaac Wilson starting 19th, Aaron Espy. He's shown some speed in recent weeks, starting 20th. Stephen Gill in the 01's got to come all the way back from 21st tonight. Might not take long, Chris. And then last night's Truck Series winner, Gavin Henson, going to be starting on the outside of row 11. We're getting ready for the green. The rest of the starting grid is scrolled across the screen. Control car, it doesn't matter right now, but the leader is Holston. He's going to be waiting for that green flag to drop in just a minute. Drivers working their way towards this really checkered start-finish line. Green flag is underway. That line is a little bit later on the trial than the other superspeedway Daytona. Holston gets away clean for the first time tonight. He's got Jacob Cochran in that number 84, not too far behind, with Curtis White on the outside. That first red and black car is number 06. He's to the outside right now. We're clean and green so far. Half a lap in from Talladega. Outside line getting a little bit of going on that outside line right now, Chris, led by Curtis White in the 06.
Yeah, White right here got a pretty good push right here on the top right here from Brandon Willard in that 12. Heard Willard talk about his strategy, his ideas for tonight, and yeah, that top lane right there, they're pretty bunched up right there, those top 3 on the top lane.
Yeah, that Wendy's mobile of Curtis White making me hungry for a cheeseburger, but he's hungry for a win tonight on the outside. He's got Brandon Willard and Brett Wren along with the 9 of Reggie Kime stacked up behind them. Little bit closer draft work going on the inside right now. That line being led by the purple and white machine of Adam Holston, who's got a helping of the number 84, that Ghost Energy machine of Jacob Cochran. We've seen him fast throughout multiple races this season. It's Holston who leads the bottom line there. The 99 of Aaron Baum, Chris, he's worked his way up a few spots from later on in the top 10. He's up to 5th place right now on that number 99 in black and white machine.
Yeah, absolutely. We are seeing some connection flashes, so we apologize for that. Hopefully that will clear up as this night goes on. Looks like it has stabilized slightly here. So, yeah, right here on the bottom lane right here, got Holston, who's had some speed here in recent weeks, getting a pretty good push from the 84 of Cochran. Those two have separated themselves a little bit from the rest of the field. But here comes that top lane back.
Is there a danger of getting out too far in front?
Yeah, there is a little bit of danger of that. That's something that you definitely don't want to do because those guys behind you might get a possible run on you. So, yeah, you don't want to have, too big of a gap. But I don't think we'll see a lot of that tonight, Ellis. I don't think these drivers will be able to get too far out in front of the field.
Right now, no one's gotten too far out in front of the field. Adam Holston continues to lead that outside line. Thomas Hartzog, the biggest mover so far in the top 10, moved up from 9th position already into the top 5. He's in that Monster Energy number 98. Him and that 99, Chris, they are working together really well right now. I noticed they've been nose to tail. Right as I say that 99 is going to drop off the back bumper a little bit. Meanwhile, the 06 of Curtis White has some help from the 12 of Brandon Willard. Delivers a helping bump, but Brett Wren's going to take the inside. Brandon Willard moved up the track just a little bit, and he opened the door for Brett Wren in that number 24 to move underneath him, and that heart rate of Brett Wren on the top. We've seen that thing up and down over the past several laps, Chris. Looks like we've got a third line starting to develop about 8 cars back. I believe that is the 09 or the number 11, potentially, of Douglas Wisaki. I can't tell the exact number on that blue and black car, but Evan Janick is pushing him towards the front right now. Third line is forming. Are you comfortable in that third line right now, Chris, on just lap number 3, getting ready to come to lap number 4?
Yeah, I'm a little bit nervous right there because I do know that if a crash happens and I am up in that third lane, there's really nowhere to go. Well, on the bottom lane, you do have some options, but I do like being on the third lane because you that momentum, especially early on right here, you don't get so bogged down like you do on the bottom. So it's kind of like a risk versus reward type of a move to go up there. But we see Brent Wren moving up in front of those guys.
Wren takes that line to the top. First car out there. You saw him make that move just a lap ago. He saw the momentum. That number, it's labeled, I think it's the 60, but I'm not sure if it's showing up on my stats as the 60.
I think that it's the 09, Ellis, but I think he's got the roof numbers reversed.
Jackson Hatala. Yeah, Jackson Hatala there in that Logitech car. You saw him pull up in front of Hatala just a moment ago, and that heart rate, Chris, as soon as that happened, that thing went from about 86, 90 all the way up to 101, and it's climbing higher at this point. That top car climbs the bank, and the green and white Fall Creek plumbing machine of Brett Wren leads the pack. But Brandon Willard, right now, that sole car on that middle line, which is in and of its own state a top line until Brett Wren gets there. He's got some help from number 9 of Reggie Kime, who's pulled up in that big red machine, the Kool-Aid machine, not too far behind Willard. Kool-Aid and Don, that is a combination that I feel like has got to be like a hazing ritual or a prank or something like that. Meanwhile, they've got the one IROC machine coming through the field, not too shabby. I'm not even sure what, again, with these drivers not having the correct numbers on their car, it might be me, it might just not be trading paints refreshing, but that number 1 who's moved up to the third car in that middle lane, he's working his way up as well. He's right in front of Hatala. At outside line, Chris, I thought they were going. They continue to kind of yo-yo back and forth, riding on board with these cars. Man, we've had some close calls. I've watched a couple cars wiggle through the corners. We watched the 84 of Jacob Cochran walk his way.
Oh, we got trouble,
one car sideways. The 08 big crash. David Wallace. 7, 8 cars now involved coming out of turn 4. That's going to put us under yellow for the first time tonight. And Chris, I do believe that might have started with contact between David Wallace and another car. I believe I know what happened. I think the 92 is going to be where we start that incident, Chris.
Yeah, I believe so. It looked like the
Alex Pollock might have gotten into the wall.
Yeah, I believe that we got into a situation where it almost got 4 wide there. We're going to go back and see if we can see what
So we'll go back and take a look at what exactly brought out that caution on lap number 8 for the first time tonight to see where we mentioned it, Chris. The big one, it happened, and it looks like we're going to be seeing about 7, 8 cars who were involved in that. At least 4 have already hit pit road with substantial damage. They do have a quick repair, though, so that's the good news for several of these drivers caught up in that incident. That included Chris Mefford, Stephen Gill, Aaron Espy, Isaac Wilson, David Wallace in the 08 as well, all involved in that lap number 8 pileup.
Yeah, we're watching David Wallace right here as he comes up on the rear bumper of that number 92, Alex Pollock. Pollock tags the wall right there. You see, the 08 looking to the inside right there, gets into the left rear, and unfortunately Aaron Espy, you see him, you see a number of cars involved, you see the 35 spinning around right there. That's Gino Valenti right there. That's just very unfortunate series of events for these drivers.
Unfortunate series of events triggered by one car getting in the wall, almost going 4 wide, puts us under caution for the first time tonight, lap 8. I don't believe we're going to be seeing green flag pit stops. Chris, this might be a good opportunity to talk about our sponsor and maybe hit up a little bit of diecast trivia that I know some folks in the chat are excited about. Tonight's race is brought to you by Fall Creek Plumbing. They're the title sponsor of the series, your trusted plumbing experts serving all of Central Indiana. If you're in Central Indiana in the chat, shout out. Fall Creek Plumbing is a small family-owned business located in Pendleton, Indiana, dedicated to providing reliable and professional plumbing solutions. You don't want an unreliable plumbing solution, trust me. Whether it's a leak under your concrete slab, water heater troubles, or general plumbing repairs, Fall Creek's got you covered with a strong focus on customer service and quality workmanship, something that's missing often these days. They're the team you can put on and count on to get the job done right. Chris, let's talk about some trivia. Chris Buescher diecast on the line tonight. For the winner of the trivia, each question, 4 of them tonight, will have one correct answer. The first 2 correct answers typed into the chat will get a trivia point. The fan in the chat with the most points at the end of the night is going to take home that Chris Buescher diecast. Chris, our first question of the night. What unusual superstition surrounds Talladega Superspeedway? Is it that it was cursed by a former moonshiner? It's located where 3 ley lines meet. It was the site of a Civil War battle, or it was built on an ancient Native American burial ground. Let us know in the chat. Give us the correct answer. Please type at least some semblance of an answer, not just a letter, but some semblance of the correct answer, not just a letter. And the first 2 correct answers in the chat will get the trivia point for question number 1 tonight. Right now, working lap number 9 under caution. It's been Adam Holston all the way with the help of Jacob Cochran. Brandon Willard continues to run in third. Brett Wren, that heart rate has been up and down all night long, Chris. He's in the 4th position. Several drivers we mentioned just got in that lap number 8 wreck, including Thornton, Medford, Gill, Zukoff, Gillen. I believe Hunt might have been in there, as well as a handful of other cars, including David Wallace. They've come to pit road, gotten that quick repair fix. Please let us know. A, B, I'm not sure what you mean by that. So you just give me a word of some sorts. That would be super helpful because there are no letters on that. Give me some semblance of what the answer is. It doesn't have to be the full typed out answer, but let me know what you think that correct answer is with something beyond a letter. Got several answers coming in the chat right now, Chris. Got a lot of people interested in that Chris Buescher diecast. I believe it's the Pala Casino 1/64th scale diecast. So these drivers, Chris, they've had a moment to breathe. We're lining up right now, getting ready for a restart. Does the mentality change? They've already seen the first wreck. Do drivers back off a little bit, or do they go even harder now with less laps remaining?
Yeah, I kind of see this work both ways, Ellis. I think some drivers are going to be thinking, yeah, maybe that's sort of scared them a little bit into taking it a little bit more easy. But like you said, Ellis, we're getting closer to that stage break. You want to get those top 5 points before lap 20, or by the time that, lap 20 comes around right here. So, yeah, it's a couple of different mentalities. I think that we're going to see some drivers charge up there and possibly want to get those stage points, and some other drivers may be deciding that they want to try to win the race.
Yeah, I think you are. I think you're right. There's going to be several different types of strategies that come into play tonight. Speaking of strategy, 2 correct answers. There were multiple correct answers, but the first 2 in the chat, Chris, came from Dan E. and Caleb Hunt. It was built allegedly on a Native American burial ground. Good guesses for everybody. The points leaders now with 1 point apiece are going to be Caleb Hunt and Dan E. We'll update the trivia board accordingly. And right now, man, it's all about the racing. None of the leaders came down pit road that time. Pace car is going to peel off. It's going to be on Adam Holston once he hits that blue Geico restart zone to mash that throttle and get us back underway. He's approaching it right now. See what kind of restart he gets with Jacob Cochran and Brett Wren in tow. Right at the end is when he mashes that throttle. Several drivers going to stack up a little bit further back. Holston gets off alone. No one to his side. Brett Wren's got the help of the 98 of Thomas Hartzog on the outside. Cochran a little bit further back on the inside, but slowly gets back up to the back bumper of that number 8 of Adam Holston. 2 by 2 by 2 as far as the eye can see. Right now here at Talladega Superspeedway, Brett Wren in that 24, a little bit loose off the corner there. He's got a helping hand from Thomas Hartzog. Hartzog in that monster number 98. Outside line and inside line evenly matched down the backstretch. Holston leads the way. Wren on the outside, and that heart rate monitor is showing it. Wren, we're on that live heart rate monitor for us now, Chris. Sim racing, it's not a stick and ball sport, but it's still a good cardiovascular workout, and that heart rate monitor is a testament to that as we watch Brett Wren really get the blood flowing.
Yeah, absolutely. These drivers right here in Ellis, this track more than most other super speedway type of racing, all these drivers right here, they're tense. They're really tense on the wheel, and being tensed up for this long a period of time, it can really wear on you over the course of about an hour and a half.
Yeah, and speaking of wearing on you, one car, Curtis White, Chris, started in the top 10. He's already dropped back to 20th. I think his strategy might be to ride it out for a little while. Maybe not liking what he's seeing as Curtis White drops back to the 19th position with the action at the front continuing to be very, very intense. I think we debate every race, Chris, that we run together in a super speedway what the best strategy is. And I think you're always wanting to race up front. My gut tells me to be conservative, riding the back. Usually I find myself in the middle, and it doesn't work out for me. Hopefully these guys don't share the same fate tonight. But right now that outside line continues to have speed. Brett Rinn side by side with Holson. Holson, even with a good push from Cochran, struggles to clear the 24. Right there, he's going to do it. Chris, how long can one of these cars stay tucked up to the back bumper of the car it is pushing without running into some heating issues?
Yeah, not long, Ellis. And I think that you have to really, really be tucked up very tight, like actually making contact for, about a lap and a half, 2 laps, and then you really start running into some serious troubles right there. Haven't really seen that type of pushing tonight so far, Ellis. Just been seeing some pushing on the straightaway right here. Haven't seen too much in the corners. So I don't think that we've run into any types of serious issues, but I'm willing to bet that Thomas Hartzog right here sort of laying back a little bit more than what he was before, kind of peeking out a little bit right here. Here he is doing the same thing right there again in that Monster Energy number 98. He's probably doing everything he can right here to keep that engine under him. You don't want to damage it. You don't want to blow your engine too early, so definitely want to make sure he's around at the end of this thing.
Speaking of being around at the end, there are drivers who are trying to work their way up to the front right now. That middle of the field, right around 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, that's where it's getting dicey. Alec Pollock makes it 3 wide on the outside of that purple number 92 machine, climbs the banking on the exit of turn 4 right now. 3 wide, the 9. Reggie Kimes going to jump out of line to the outside to try to get by the 98 and at least head off the head of steam that's coming from Pollock along with Aaron Espy, not too far behind in that Agro Solutions number 16. 3 wide action back in 5th place. Oh, the number 1 and the number 9 almost collide there, Chris. Close call between Kime and a couple of other drivers. Kime's going to lose the momentum on the outside. Pollock's going to follow him, but as soon as I say that, Pollock and Espy jump to the middle, maybe trying to get around the number 9. The number 9 of Kime almost looked like he thought about closing the door on that move, but thought wiser of it, Chris.
Yeah, he did. Oh, we got one car in the wall. I think that's Joshua Gillen in the Yoo-Hoo number 10. But I think he's going to be okay. He's trucking along right here, and we're still under green. Ellis' one car's going to die for pit road. I think that's the 35 of Volante.
That is the 35 of Gino Volante. We're just 15 laps in, not sure what's going on with that Sunoco machine. He's going to pull it to the attention of his crew. This would be a definitely unconventional pit stop early on with no help. He might be pulling that thing off to the side. We're going to keep an eye on Gino and that number 35. Meanwhile, back up at the front, the action has not died down one bit. It just seems like it's back and forth and back and forth. No driver really has been able to gain a serious advantage. Adam Holson has led the majority of the laps, but it's getting by just a foot or two over the 24 of Brett Rinn. It seems like I'm continuing, Chris, to watch the number 80, the number 92, and the number 16 of Alex Pollock and Aaron Espy. These guys, they are not afraid to rip that wall and go to the outside. That is maybe where speed is to be gained as we watch them accelerate on the high line right now. Almost in the wall. Can he hold on to it? Espy gets off the throttle and lets the 92 gather himself, and he might have saved the field with that heads-up driving on the part of Aaron Espy and that number 16. Chris, you mentioned what a save. I think that's about spot on.
Yeah, that was, I'm not sure if David Moyer, I think it was David Moyer in the 47. I'm not sure if David was trying to jump up in front of those guys or if he got a little bit loose and slid up in front of them, but great heads-up driving right there by Aaron Espy and Alex Pollock right there to sort of keep the field all together and not crash.
Yeah, that was a moment that was nothing. Although it could have been everything for some of these drivers. It could have ended their night. Hey, if you're in the chat, we appreciate you stopping in tonight. Connor Lyons, Malcolm Capo, Michael Wade, Ricky LaFleur's back. Caleb Hunt in here as well. Dan E. Brandon Berardi says he's a little disappointed he didn't make this week's race. I'm a little disappointed too. He had a lot of speed at Bristol. I was looking forward to seeing what Brandon could have done out there tonight, but he's got to watch from the sidelines. Only 28 cars made the field and gridded up tonight on speed. Right now the speed's on the outside line, Chris. Brett Wren with that heart rate maybe a little bit lower than we've seen it much this evening. He might be comfortable out front with no cars in front of him. He's feeling pretty good in that number 24. Would you rather have someone behind you or rather have someone in front of you if you're racing here at Talladega? How comfortable are you in the bump track? One car peels off. That is Isaac Wilson with another car. Wilson on the brakes, smoking those brakes on coming onto pit road, Chris.
Yeah, I'm not sure, Ellis, which one I would prefer. I think every driver's a little bit different. I like to have Clink Jack out in front of me. In fact, I really like to be where Brett's at, is where the field's now getting 3 wide again, so we're coming up on the end of the stage break. I really like where Brett's at, sort of leading that top lane right there. Here comes Hartzog. He's going to jump up to the 3rd lane.
Hartzog with the one behind him, the 09 also right back there. Jackson Hatala, that high line's got momentum, Chris. You mentioned it. We're coming to the white flag for stage number 1. Lap number 19 of 20 in stage number 1. Stage 1 awards 5 points. Points to the top 5 drivers. Right now it's Holston, Cochran, Wren, Willard, and Moore. I don't think it's going to stay that way very long. That inside line led by Holston and Cochran, they've got the advantage, but Brett Wren has not given up. It looked like the momentum was with the Hartzog in the number 98, but it's since waned a little bit. In the 47, Chris, David Moyer, after starting in 27th position, shout out to the driver of that number 47 for working his way up into the top 5 in just 20 laps time here. He might try to push that number 24 of Brett Wren, who's got a 110 beats per minute heart rate right now. Holston goes below the yellow line. The 12 of Willard collides with the 47 and the 99. Kime involved as well. The 25 of Vellante also gets involved in that melee down in turn number 3. They wanted those stage points, Chris. 20 laps in the book. That's going to bring out the second caution of the evening, and it's going to end stage number 1 as we know it. The running order, top 5, will receive points. That's Holston, Cochran, Wren, Espy, and Hartzog. Shout out to Aaron Espy. Moved up 16 positions after starting 20th on the evening, Chris. Let's see if we can return to the scene of the crime and see what happened to put us under caution for the second time tonight.
Yeah, this is an argument over space right here, Ellis. I'm looking at, I believe that is, I can't tell who that is. I think it's maybe Joey Beam right here. No, that's not Joey Beam. I can't tell who that is that dives for the middle, Ellis. Oh, I think I know who it is. I think it's the 99 of Aaron Baum, actually. Watch this number 99 right here, right behind the number 12 of Brandon Willard. He's going for that hole, gonna make it 3 wide, but then all of a sudden they get 4 wide. David Moyer, I don't think knows that he made that move right there. They all come together, and like I said, it's just an argument over space. We're gonna go back and watch this actually from David Moyer's perspective. Actually, we'll just follow David right here. Yeah, he gets tagged right there. Brandon Willard gets tagged. Brandon does a heck of a job to straighten it out. Moyer goes around right there. Reggie Kime goes around also. These drivers do have fast repairs. I don't see a ton of damage on a lot of these cars, Ellis. So maybe Brandon Willard.
They all took kind of glancing blows, just kind of slight. Willard gets that hood contact, but yeah, I think he still got his quick repair. So I think most of these drivers are going to walk away and live to fight another day here on lap number 21 of 80. And I think we are going to see green flag pit stops for the first time as drivers come down pit road. Holston led him that way, followed by Jacob Cochran. Holston with the first pit stall after sitting on the pole. He's going to come out first with a big old lead. Jacob Cochran a little bit slower on pit road. Looks like Aaron Espy might beat him off off pit road as well. Jacob Cochran, and then Hartzog comes off 4th. Now, pit stops, they matter certainly, but under caution here at Talladega, you gain or lose a spot, I think you're going to be able to live with yourself at the end of the day on that one, because that can be easily gained back on track. It's those real bad pit stops or mistakes on pit road that set you back to the middle of the pack that might put you in the danger zone, Chris. So, speaking of danger zone, we got plenty of more danger coming up here for race number 9 of the Fall Creek Plumbing Grand National Series for Mystic Racing League. I'm Ellis Thomas, joined by Chris Smith in the Slingshot booth tonight. It's going to be a great opportunity to hear from some of our partners, including Whiplash SimCams. We'll be right back on the other end of the break. We're not going to miss a lap of green flag racing.
Hey partner, I'm Barry, your pocket crew chief, the very first AI-powered mechanic for sim racing. Got a car that's a little loose or tight? Just tell me how it's handling, and I'll whip up instant setup recommendations just for you. Want me to get even more precise? Snap a picture of your setup, and I'll fine-tune it to perfection. And hey, I'm not just about giving orders. I'll explain why every adjustment matters, so you can really understand your ride. I'll even teach you the science behind the setup. Ever wondered why the track bar is so important? I've got the answer. With Pocket Crew Chief, I'll make you smarter, faster, and race ready. So what are we waiting for? Let's build to win.
All right, back here at Talladega, they've taken the choose, and it's going to be leader Isaac Wilson, the benefactor of an early pit stop. Got out in front, did not have to come down pit road, stayed in the lead lap. Adam Holston led him off pit road in that group that had been the initial leaders. He's going to be restarting second. Aaron Espy, Brett Wren also in the top 5 in terms of stage points finishers. Going to be leading row number 2. Chris, haven't talked a lot about Evan Janick after starting 18th. He's going to be restarting 6th on this restart, just at half a lap away from that. He's kept his nose clean most of the night. We might try to grab a word with him next caution, assuming there is one. You know, we might get lucky. We might go green flag racing the rest of the way. If I'm a betting man, my bet's against that one, but Janick looking pretty good. He's your points leader. He stayed out of trouble the first quarter of this race. Going to be restarting starting, I should say, stage number 2 on lap number 24. That'll give us about 17 laps or so until the end of stage number 2, taking us to the final stage tonight. Couple new chatters. The No 79. Talladega's my favorite race track. It's a home track as well. Hey, it's my home track as well, and Chris's home track. So no, shout out Roll Tide Roll. I know that Danny's not going to like that based on what he said in the chat, but hey, it's all right.
Roll Tide, Danny.
Connor says that number 93 car looks good. I cannot disagree with you. That's a good. Is that some camo and an American flag on that car?
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Yeah, good
I cannot disagree myself. It's going to be on that number 93, Isaac Wilson. He's going to lead him down past the Yellowwood sign, getting right into the Geico restart zone and put us under green flag conditions for the 3rd time tonight. And to kick off stage number 2, he's going to mash that throttle, and we are underway once again. Stage 2 of race number 9 of the Fall Creek Plumbing Series is underway. A couple cars further back, duck below the yellow line to try to save face after a little bit of contact, but up at the front, it's Holston, the 93 of Isaac Wilson. Side by side is Holston, that 8 climbing the banking. He's got some help from Brett Wren in the 24. The 16 of Aaron Espy is pushing that number 93 of Isaac Wilson. Meanwhile, that yellow and blue ghost energy machine of Jacob Cochran back in the 5th position. He's the 3rd car on the inside of row number 3. It is 2x2, 4-5 rows back, Chris. A little bit calmer right now than we've seen it earlier, just about 4 or 5 laps ago as we raced for those stage points. 2x2 is not a bad place to be. Holston, he had been on the inside much of the early part of stage 1. He's moved up to the outside. New dance partner in the form of the 24 of Brett Wren. Chris, if you got someone new behind you, like Holston has right now in the form of that driver, the number 24, Wren, does that make you a little bit nervous?
Yeah, I think that anytime you get a driver behind you on a super speedway that you're not really sure of their, tendencies, yeah, sometimes, and we do see some contact right there. Brett Wren not afraid to do a little bit of bump drafting right there in the center of 1 and 2. Yeah, it does make you a little bit nervous, but, it takes usually a lap or two to maybe, sort of learn their tendencies and what you do, get in sync with each other. Maybe that's a potent combination.
Yeah, potent hit from the 24 might have been a little bit of a draft gone wrong there. We were talking about it. The 8 might just not be comfortable yet with the hits that 24 is delivering. Meanwhile, Aaron Espy in the 16 is going to jump up in front of Adam Holston and use that momentum to careen past the 93 of Isaac Wilson to the lead. Espy's going to lead his first laps of the night from that number 16 car. Espy so far has had a pretty good season average finish. I don't think my stats are telling the full story. We've seen Espy run more than 2 races, but finished 12th at Auto Club Speedway. I don't think I've got his most recent finishes, but right now he's looking to better whatever I've got in the lead. Espy winless so far this season, hoping he can change that tonight at Talladega. Chris, you mentioned the bumps are coming hot and heavy from Brett Wren in that 24, right behind leader Adam Holston, the guy who's led much of the evening, has been pushed maybe more in the past 2 laps than we've seen all race, and has upset that car, but all the momentum right now is on that inside, led by Espy, Wilson, Cochran, and now Herzog joins the fray in that number 98 on the inside. And don't say anything now, but Derek Jewett in that 45, one of the cars that I expected to be a dark horse contender for the win tonight, he slipped into the 7th position in that number 45. He's making that inside line work for him right now. Jewett having a good run tonight.
Yeah, he is. He made some contact right there to the back of the 98. That was almost a bump draft gone wrong right there. Here's the 24. Oh, we got a crash in the back.
Big crash, several cars sideways, one hood flies down the backstretch, 8-9 cars involved, Moyer, Zukov, White, Beam, Henson, last night's winner in the truck series, also was involved in that incident. Caleb Hunt's going to come through it, Volante's going to come through it just fine, but the 47, Chris, that might be the end of the night. The end of the road for David Moyer, involved in that first caution, now involved in a second crash. I think that might mark the end of his campaign tonight at Talladega.
Yeah, we're going to go back and see what happened. I think maybe the 06 of Curtis White might have sneaked by on the bottom right there. We'll have to get an idea. Oh, we're going to go back right here just and slow this thing down just a little bit. This is a major stack-up effect that occurred a little bit further up ahead right there. The 44 breathing a little bit, the 1, the 6, and into the 47. There goes the 1 and the 6 around. The 91 into the back of the 47. There goes the 1 around. Oh, that's David Moyer up in the air. Heck of a ride for Moyer. We got Joey Beam down here. He was in the 1. There's Zach White also involved. So we'll kind of go back right here and maybe we see about all these drivers' involvement, see how they all got caught up in this deal.
Hey, as we look through the replays at that carnage on lap 28, it's going to leave us with about probably an 8-9 lap shootout for points for stage number 2, Chris, but that is going to take out a handful of contenders. Moyer had climbed all the way, Chris, as high as the 4th position earlier this evening. He's going to be set back to the back, and that might be the end of his evening. But several drivers caught up in that lap number 28. The stack up is a thing, especially with bump drafting. One car gets loose, the car behind has to lift the throttle, maybe tap the brakes just a little bit. And when you're linked in a chain, like a chain of paper clips, as they are here at Talladega, all it takes is one person not having the perfect reaction speed, and it could all go south very quickly. And we saw Moyer head on into the wall, hood flying, catch fence torn up by that number 47. And they're wild at Talladega, unlike anywhere else on the NASCAR schedule. It's going to put us under caution for the 3rd time tonight, Chris. But before all that transpired, Aaron Espy had worked his way to the lead for the first time tonight, entering the conversation for maybe one of those dark horse winners. Derek Jewett also not too far behind in the 9th position, one of my picks earlier on in the evening. Might try to grab a word with Evan Janick. You down to see if we can get Evan in the broadcast booth real quick?
Yeah, let's see if he wants to talk to us.
All right. Hey, Evan Janick, it's Ellis and Chris in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, gotcha.
Hey, man, you've done a good job of staying out of trouble tonight. What's the strategy? You want to be up front, or you just kind of riding right now?
No, I'm pushing a little bit. I'd like to get stage points to grow my lead. Really just working with teammates here. We were able to line up 1, 2, 3 on the top. So really just communicating with teammates and trying to work together to get up front.
How intense has that bump drafting been out there this evening?
I haven't been yet because I have not been out front. But the first 2 cars in each lane, they really have to be careful. If you push too hard, it does more damage than good. There's a fine line. A lot of people overstep it.
All right, man. Well, good luck out there tonight. We're going to be keeping an eye on you at points leader Evan Janick. We'll talk to you at the end.
All right, thanks.
All right, so he said the bump drafting from his point of view back there is not too bad, but the driver's going to have to be careful not to take it over the limit, especially up front where most of that bump drafting is happening. We saw Brett Wren get Adam Holston loose a couple times. Not going to see any leaders on pit road this time by as we cross the line to take lap number 30 of 80, approaching the halfway mark. That's a good-looking paint scheme. That one's growing on me, Chris. That 71 AMSOIL, AMSOIL, I'm not sure how you pronounce that. I'm sure Evan will let me know at some point. But black and blue, it's a good-looking car with that red accent number on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Got a good-looking ride right there. And I think the most important thing, Ellis, is that the side skirts match what is on the side of the vehicle up above it. So that's always a plus in my book.
Dale Jr. would approve right now. The 8 of Adam Holston takes the choose on the outside, Aaron Espy. The leader takes the choose on the inside. That is where they will start from that respectively from the first row. Hey, in the chat, Tuckman VR says, I'm back. We're glad Tuckman's joined us again. Danny chiming in the chat. The No 79 says he moved back to Alabama a couple of years ago. He says he's loving the countryside. Where'd you move from? Let us know where you moved from on your way to Alabama. Where'd you come from? Connor Chris says 24. Brett Wren's heart rate was at 120 beats per minute at a peak. Good eye. Boy, we got to get a nurse in there, a doctor or something. I'm concerned about Brett Wren. Does this make us legally liable if we know his heart rate is climbing dangerously high and we don't do anything?
And Ellis, I was going to say, Brett, I've been amazed at how calm and cool he's been all season. His heart rate has been amongst the lowest that we've seen here at Slingshot Racing Media all season. Real calm, cool, and collected. I think this is the most, I think this is the highest that we've seen it all season out of him for sure. I think it speaks to, how confident he's feeling tonight. Maybe he feels like he's, got a really good shot at this thing.
A little bit of a pep in the step of Brett Wren in that number 24. Hey, speaking of pep in the step, put a pep in our step and hit that thumbs up button real quick. If you're watching on your computer or your phone, literally just hit that thumbs up button. Give this video a like. It's going to help get it out to more people, get more people in the chat, more people watching your favorite drivers. And certainly, if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything. It means everything to us. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. As a reward, we got some more green flag racing coming up. Aaron Espy leading the field to the green flag. Adam Holston on the outside, getting ready to go green after the third caution of the evening. It's going to be about 10 laps left in stage number 2, halfway through it, approaching the halfway point of the race. We're green. Espy takes the green flag, gets away from Adam Holston. Isaac Wilson not too far behind. It's a battle for second right now. Cochran, the third car on the inside line, way far back. That inside line got very separated. Holston with very little help from Wren, but now Janick gives Wren a push, and Wren joins the fray to the back bumper of Holston. Wren goes. He ducks a nose out to the right, thinks better of it. Isaac Wilson continues to push that number 16 of Espy way far down the backstretch. They've been working well for the past 5-6 laps or so. One car, the 99, I believe, moves up. Aaron Baum moves up to the top in that black and blue number 90, or black and white number 99. 2x2x2 starting back in 4th position, about 5-6 rows back, but you couldn't stick a sheet of paper between the leader right now, Aaron Espy, and Isaac Wilson. We mentioned you can only do that for a couple laps without that car overheating.
Yeah, absolutely. You definitely want to make sure as these fans right here, they've got a great show of what's happening right here. Here comes Holston right here on the outside, leading that outside line back a little bit. I think that outside lane's a little bit more organized right here, possibly at this point. But that 93, Ellis, of Isaac Wilson, he's no slouch at all. Look at him push that 16 right there. A great push to the back bumper of the 16.
Little wiggly, but it did the trick. That number 16 gets ahead of steam, and he's got to have one because the 8 of Holston had a big push from Brett Wren, the 24. They worked their way down into turn number 3. Wren lifts off the back bumper of the number 8 just a little bit. The 93 of Wilson continues to be glued to the back bumper of Espy, and Cochran to the back bumper of Wilson. They are head-to-head down the front straightaway through the tri-oval. Jewett looks to join the fray, 4th in inside line with Hartzog not far behind him. Meanwhile, Holston,
some
the
contact.
16 of Espy sideways. Can he save it down to the bottom of turn 1? He does. We're going to continue racing under green flag conditions. Can he keep it down on the apron? Wow, Chris, what a save by Aaron Espy off the nose of Brett Wren.
Yeah, heck of a... Oh, we got a crash right here.
93, Wilson sideways, Cochran in it. Jewett makes it through. One car head on into the wall down the back stretch. 4 cars involved in this melee on lap number 33. Kopp and Volante might have gotten the worst end of that wreck on the back stretch. We'll check into the replay to see what happened, but several cars looked like another stack-up effect there, Chris.
All right, Ellis, we're going to go back right here and see if we can find... Yeah, here's Aaron Espy right here. We're going to go all the way back right here to this deal with Aaron first before we actually look at the crash. We want to see this save right here, and I want to give a heads up to Aaron Espy right here for being calm, cool, and collected. Yeah, it looks like a bump gone wrong from the 24 to the 8. The 16 right here, he's real calm, cool, and collected, and decides I'm not going to ruin anybody else's race. I'm going to keep it down here, wait for the field to pass before I start moving up. So heads up move right there by him. Here's where the crash occurred. The 84, I'm going to go back right here, and we're going to slow this thing down just a little bit, Ellis. The 84 right here in the middle. Not sure if everybody got the word that they were 3 wide. We're going to try to see if we can sort of see this from this perspective here. The 84 right there of Jacob Cochran to the inside right there. You've got Derek Jewett. You've got the 93 right there also. Yeah, the 93 and the 84 make some contact left front to right rear. The 93 of Isaac Wilson goes around. Drivers making evasive maneuvers right there. Oh, some contact right there to the 35. That is Gino Volante right there. Gino's going to spin around right there. Looks like Caleb Hunt's got some damage. The 44 also, Matthew Kopp. Look at that hood right there on that 44. We should go back see if we can see how Matthew got all that damage.
And as we look for that replay, 34 have a lapse here at Talladega. We're not going to see any green flag or yellow flag pit stops under caution right now. All the leaders staying out. A couple cars do come down pit road who had some damage from that last crash, including Joey Beam, Gino Volante, Joshua Gillen on pit road as well. These are just unavoidable with the close quarters racing and the high speeds. We got Danny in the chat right now saying the 24 pushed the 8 into SB. Yeah, that I think is part of definitely part of what happened. But with everything going on so fast, you mentioned, Chris, you weren't sure that they got the word that they were 3 wide there headed into the corner.
Yeah, this was like what it might have been a possibility right there. So yeah. Sometimes, heart gets to racing here at Talladega, and with these drivers maybe feeling like, hey, I've got a quick repair in my back pocket. That means I can be a little bit more aggressive. That may be why we're seeing this rash of caution flags here. Not even halfway yet in this race right here, but we are coming up on the end of stage 2, so it's going to be a quick dash right here to the end of this stage right here. Top 5 picking up these stage points.
Top 5, we'll be looking for those stage points in the 44. I don't think that is the sight that the number 44, Matthew Kopp, wanted to see tonight. He's going to take his quick repair, probably live to fight another day right behind Aaron Espy, who had the save of the race, the Geico good hands move of the race. Country boy for life, Heflin, Alabama in the house, watching this on the 60-inch flat screen. Well, we appreciate you joining us. We're not too far. Neither one of us too far down from Heflin. Right off the interstate, I believe, on 20, if I'm not mistaken, is Heflin. Let us know. I might be wrong. But right now, Chris, might be a good opportunity as we approach the halfway point, getting ready to end stage number 2. Let's hit up some trivia about Talladega. Let's see if our Alabama boy, country boy for life, knows some trivia here. Question number 2, current point leaders. Caleb Hunt and Dan E. are your point leaders. They both got the last question correct and were the first 2 to do it. Question number 2, and by the way, make sure when you are competing for the diecast trivia, you let us know a part of the correct answer. Don't just give us a letter. Let us know what part of the correct answer is so I can correctly identify it, because the trivia questions don't have letters on them. The answers don't. Which driver earned their first NASCAR Cup win? First career NASCAR Cup win at Talladega in 2009. Was it Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski, or Kyle Busch? Which one of these drivers had their first career NASCAR Cup win at Talladega back in 2009? Hamlin, Logano, Keselowski, or Busch? Tasek in the chat with the first answer. Not going to tell you whether it's correct or not, but he says Joey Logano. Get those answers in there. Anyone's got a chance to win that Chris Buescher 1/64 scale Pala Casino diecast car. We'll send it to you absolutely 100% free of charge. Right now, getting ready for the restart. Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
I believe, Ellis, that you said Caleb Hunt is tied with Danny, correct?
Yes, did it not? It didn't register, I guess.
It did not register.
We'll get
so
that.
yeah, we just want to make sure that's clear to all of our viewers that it is a tie for the lead right here between Danny and Caleb.
Two-way
Hunt.
tie. We'll make sure that gets corrected. We'll give that answer away here before we get ready to take the green flag. We'll let you have another corner or 2 to get your answer in. Several people getting their answers in early in the chat. Right now, hit that like button if you haven't already done so. Make sure to subscribe. Got some great racing going on in race number 9 in the Fall Creek Plumbing Grand National Series for Mystic Racing League. I'm Ellis Thomas, joined by Chris Smith in the Slingshot Racing Media booth. So far, if you just joined us, you missed a ton of action. Adam Holston, Brett Wren, they've been at the front much of the night. Evan Janick's been lurking around in the top 6, 7, 8. We've had 3, I would say, pretty big crashes so far, but several drivers have lived to fight another day by using that quick repair, and we've still got, right now, 23 cars on the lead lap. Any one of those cars could win. Correct answer to the trivia question, Brad Keselowski is the correct answer. That's going to be Tuckman VR and Caleb Hunt. Right now, it's all about the racing, though. Holston on the inside. He's your leader. He's got Brett Wren to the outside. It's going to be on Holston when to take the green flag. He's the control car. When he enters that Geico restart zone, it's on him. Oh, he gets a bump from Jewett. He gets a launch, though. He's no worse for the wear. Jewett's going to be the benefit factor of that. He's going to move into second place, back from third position. Jewett looking for those stage points right now. Just 4 laps remaining in stage number 1, the 8. Big old lead right now is going to be closed up immediately as Derek Jewett and Aaron Baum draw a bead on the back of that purple and white machine. But look out, Brett Wren and Evan Janick on the outside making hay with another car behind them. I believe that is the 91 maybe, or the 09 of Jackson Hatala. Who's that?
The 01 right behind Evan Janick right there, that's Stephen Gill.
Stephen Gill's first appearance last week at Bristol finished top 20. Looking to do better than that tonight. I know we got some Gill fans in the chat. Brett Wren on that outside. Adam Holston on the inside. Holston got his first win last week. First win 2 weeks ago at Las Vegas. Looking to get another one tonight. He's got Jewett pushing the back bumper. Brett Wren gets a hell of a push from the 71 of Janick, your points leader. Cannot clear Holston, though, as they go through turn 2 down to the backstretch.
Wren right here with a good push right here. They're really organized up on the top. The 01 into the 71. Here's Evan Janick's chance to push right here. The 92 coming up the top.
Pollock and Kime with Aaron Espy, who had a heck of a save earlier. They formed a third line to the outside. Just 3 laps, coming to 2 laps to go in stage number 2, almost to the halfway point of race number 9 of the Fall Creek Plumbing Series. Side drafting galore from Brett Wren and Evan Janick. It's going to open the door for Stephen Gill, along with, looks like, David Moyer in that 47. 1 car in the wall. Pollock might have grabbed the wall there for a moment right outside the tri-oval. All is good, though. Still clean and green. 1 3/4 laps left. Jewett now to the inside of Holston. Will he wait till the last lap to duck out and potentially make a move? I can see he's probably thinking about pulling up in front of Brett Wren when Wren gets that move. His teammate, the 99, is not going to be able to do it, but Wren's coming with a head of steam. Stephen Gill and the 47 of Moyer, they're still in this up top, Chris. A lap and a half to go as they head turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, if there is going to be a crash, it might be around this 3-wide action right here, so we're going to try to keep our eyes on that. But also,
there goes Jewett to the outside. The 99 Wren goes 1 lane higher. Janick will join him. It's going to be a 3-horse race. The 09 also sideways. Hatala gets a bump from the 80, not far behind him. Wren with Janick to the outside. Jewett's going to rely on the push of the 99 of Aaron Baum. 2 by 2 now. Espy 3 wide in an 09 and 8 sandwich. Espy with speed from nowhere makes it 4 wide. Gill sideways. Hartzog, big crash down the backstretch. Yellow flag is out. They will not let them race back to the line since this is a stage end. That's going to put Derek Jewett as your stage winner. The 16 of Aaron Espy will finish second. Baum and the 99 will finish third. Holston and Wren will round out the top 5. And boy, I felt like it was the end of the race there with the moves some of these drivers were making. It was the end of the stage. But, Chris, I'll let you handle this replay, see what happened. Country Boy for life, he's enjoying watching this. Tuckman VR wants a barrel roll. Did we get one in that lap number 40 crash?
I don't know if we got one in that one, but we did get a Derek Jewett stage win right there, so congratulations to him for picking up those points. We'll go back right here and see, and I think that we have just missed it a little bit, so we'll rewind right here. Yeah, it looks like, they got 4 wide right here, Ellis, and I had a feeling that this was probably not going to end well. We're going to see if we can focus in on the 0-1 of Stephen Gill, because he is the first one that I saw get turned around right here. There's Gill right there, and that's still 0-1 orange and black car. And so, yeah, he gets to the left rear right there of Evan Janick. Janick looking to the outside of the 24 Brett Wren. And some contact right there, left rear, right front between Hartzog and Gill. Gill is going to go around right here in front of the field. Evan Janick gets turned around right into the 11 of Douglas Wysocki. The 11 goes around as well. I think that we see the 47 of David Moyer also win this deal. David Moyer went all over the track on the backstretch. I think that he was trying to fight this thing the whole way. Unfortunately for Caleb Hunt, he got some damage right there. And I think that David Moyer is going to tag that inside wall here as well. Evan Janick right here to the inside. A lot of these drivers right here, Ellis, have used the fast repair. Some of them haven't. I know Evan Janick has not, so he still has one that he can decide to take. But he might want to get the damage fixed, Ellis, and save that fast repair for later. I think that might be the move that he makes.
Yeah, I think you're on to something with that strategy. Just get it repaired right now. Save it for a maybe major damage later on in the race that could keep you in the fray, especially with his championship standing. So he can afford to gamble and be back there just a little bit. Live pit stops underway. Jewett, who led him down pit road, is going to lead him off. The 99 of Baum's going to come off second. Meanwhile, I think there might have been some difference in strategies. I'm looking at the pit stop times, Chris, and I'm wondering if they might have taken 2 tires or no tires on that pit stop. See if we can't find that out. Yeah, I think that a couple drivers, including Jewett, Baum, Cochran, maybe Willard, and Hatawa all might have taken no tires or 2 tires based on what I'm seeing here. David Moyer stayed out, by the way, in that number 47. So he's going to be the leader on this.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it all plays out. I mean, we've had a lot of cautions tonight, so I don't know if I'd count on this thing going green to the end, Ellis. They cannot make it to the end from this point right here.
No, they cannot.
They can go roughly 28 laps on a tank of fuel. With the draft, you might be able to stretch that a little bit further, but you can't stretch it, I don't think, as much as you would need to be able to make it to the end here. So, Ellis, I really like the idea of taking 4 here and then maybe on a green flag pit stop, gassing, going.
I think you are absolutely on the point with that strategy. That's why we let you call our pit strategy when we race together. Usually it works out for you and doesn't work out for me, but it's okay. It's okay. I trust your judgment better than mine. So I'll take the advice wherever I can get it.
This is Talladega, Ellis, and who knows what's going to happen. I mean, and like I said, we've seen a lot of cautions tonight. So these drivers that took fuel only, they might be thinking, hey, I want to maintain this track position and try to stay out front.
Yeah, track position does mean a lot, especially if you've already used that quick repair, which I'm pretty sure David Moyer very well might have. This might be a good call that keeps him out in front and gets him that track position. Right now, working the fourth caution of the evening, the conclusion of stage 2 saw a wild finish that put Derek Jewett as the winner. Didn't have to race back to the line, but he was positioned very strongly there. It's not going to matter, though. He's going to get those stage points along with the rest of the top 5. Getting ready to grid this thing back up for a restart. I believe that is the 09 of Hatala, who's going to start from the outside. David Moyer is going to choose the inside line on this restart. Derek Jewett not too far behind. Adam Holston pulls up in that bright purple machine to the outside of row number 2. Aaron Espy with that incredible save earlier in the race. He's in 6th position, no worse for wear after that. Aaron Baum in the number 99 in that black and white paint scheme is in inside of third row. And we're going to, boy, if you thought it was intense so far, I think drivers are going to be fighting to stay up front, Chris, especially knowing that we could see green flag pit stops. I know you said it might not be likely, but you have to prepare for that, and you mentally probably have to be checked into that reality that very well could happen. Pace car leading them down the backstretch right now. Checking in on the points leader, Evan Janick. Currently, Evan sitting 19th, way far back in the pack. He is in the danger zone right now. We'll see if he's caught up in anything later on once we get going green. I'm looking through some of the stats at what we have going on here tonight, Chris. Adam Holston, I was looking at his finishes for the season. He's kind of been up and down, but ever really since Circuit of the Americas, he's been finishing consistently in the top 10, including a win back at Bristol. So actually, he finished 3rd at Bristol. I take that back. He's been running really well, so that 8 is positioned to maybe get win number 2 on the season. The 47 right now is going to be your leader. Chris, Connor wanted to crank it up. Can we do a crank it up here on this restart on lap number 43 to get stage number 3 going? Let's do it.
Can.
Crank it up. One lap around Talladega. High horsepower, high volume there on the crank it up shot. You're welcome, Connor. Hopefully you're doing well tonight. Thanks for tuning in again. Also, Dan Bora in the chat. Thank you for joining us. Hope everyone who's been here, who's gone, who's coming later is enjoying the race right now. Lap number 45 of 80 in the books. Race number 9 of the Fall Creek Plumbing Series. That's David Moyer, who is your leader. That black and blue number 09 of Jackson Hatala on the outside, being pushed by Adam Holston. Derek Jewett is that 45 car on the second row on the inside. 2 by 2 by 2 by 2, Chris, all the way back through 12th position. I think you could even go back to 16th and see 2 rows that far back right now. It is great racing here from Talladega Superspeedway. Hatala, your leader. Moyer second. Holston third. Jewett fourth. Aaron Baum, Chris. Let's talk about that 99 driver. He has been strong all night long, one of the fastest cars on the track. And if my stats are correct, this might be his first Fall Creek Plumbing Series Grand National Series race.
Yeah, I believe so.
Have a good debut.
Yeah, I don't know if we've seen him this season, but if we haven't, yeah, that's a great run, great debut tonight. Series debutant, the 99 right there. That's a good looking ride right there as he's holding a pretty wheel right down there on the bottom lane. Ellis, the bump drafting is getting insane right here. The 8 into the 09, the 45 into the 47. These drivers who are second in line in both lanes right here, they're getting aggressive with the pushing.
Oh, Holston tries to duck down underneath Hatala Espy to his outside. I'm curious if we can get on board. We're watching it right now. Boy, you mentioned it. I would not want to be a camera on one of those bumpers because it is getting ground down very quickly right now. Headed through turns 1 and 2. Hatala, that black and blue machine, the 09, leads the race, but the momentum is on the outside, at least with Aaron Espy. There's another car climbing up through the field right now. Believe that might be Chris Mefford in the 46. Came out of nowhere with a head of steam. It's going to pay the price without a dance partner on the outside, losing 2, 3, 4, now 5 position. Finally finds a hole in that second row, but he got some TV time for just a second at least. Brett Wren backs up to the front bumper of the 16 of Espy. He has to lift off just a little bit. Chris Wren's been one of the biggest pushers we've seen all night, and his heart rate right now is showing it.
Yeah, he really has, as our driver sort of flashed out right there. We apologize for that, but it looks like the action is back right there. Look at that 46 of Mefford up there on the top, Ellis. They got kind of stacked up right there in the middle lane. He decided he wanted to go back for some more, but unfortunately nobody's going with him. He needs some help up there.
Yeah, he's tried that move a couple times, and Mefford, I'm looking through my stats. I don't know how many races Mefford, let's see, this is Brandon Mefford. He has run one race, if that.
This is actually Chris Mefford. And I
Chris
believe,
Mefford, I don't know if I have any numbers. Chris has run maybe one race.
Yeah, he has, Ellis. I think that was the race where you were gone. Both Brandon and Chris ran in that one, and both of them were very fast in that race.
Yeah, I believe he finished, or for some reason it's not finished, he scored 22 points, but he's been fast tonight. He just doesn't have the dance partner, and a lot of that probably has to do with the fact that he hasn't run but one race, so drivers who've been racing all 9 races of the season might be a little bit hesitant. Doesn't mean he's a bad driver or anything. It means they're just not used to being around him. It's going to take a few more laps to maybe get that confidence in the number 46 to go with him as this race goes on, and hopefully Mefford's able to find some partners to dance with as the final 30 laps of this race get underway. Aaron Espy's working that outside, Chris, but boy, Adam Holston is not shy of the back bumper of the 09 of Hatala, giving him pushes all the way through the corner, separated just by inches right now with Moyer, that third car inside, not too far behind them. Brett Wren, the 2 green cars up front working together. Wren has been a pusher all night long and been doing a heck of a job. Reggie Kime up in there. It's Kime time in the 7th position. The Wendy's, actually that's a Kool-Aid machine. Boy, I feel like I could use some Kool-Aid right now. It's a little warm in my room. It's a little warm at Talladega right now on the virtual Talladega Motor Speedway. Kime's going to get a big old run down the back stretch with that big gap between him and Wren, the 24. Wren up the track a little bit. Espy down the track. They separate after bumpers being locked for at least a lap or 2. Kime's able to join them. Chris, one of the things I'm noticing, and I might be overthinking this, but that 24, I'm seeing him kind of move around the track just a little bit. Is that a symptom of a car that maybe isn't handling to his comfort?
Yeah, it could be that he's a little bit uncomfortable. It could just be, sometimes at Talladega with the fact that these cars are restricted and, they will kind of wiggle around a little bit here, a little bit more maybe than some other tracks. And sometimes, you're just trying to follow that guy in front of you and, sometimes that can get you off your game a little bit. This is really like the only track where you're trying to intently follow the driver in front of you. So, yeah, that's something that maybe catches some drivers out right here. But yeah, seeing Wren kind of poke out to the outside of Espy right there through 3 and 4. I'm not sure if he's doing that to try to get some. He might be doing this to get some air on the nose, and maybe he wants to lead that 3rd lane, Ellis.
I'm thinking he might want to. He thought about bringing Kime with him for a minute. Kime's going to lose a couple spots on that. The 44 of Matthew Kopp up into the top 10. I believe the first time tonight, at least in a good while. Joshua Gillen, I was just about to mention him, dealt with the wall in turn 1 there for a moment. Gets a little bit of a scratch on that right side. He'll continue to fight back in the 18th, 19th position. Meanwhile, back up front, Aaron Espy with a big push from Brett Wren. They're going to the front. Will they be able to get to the side of Jackson Hatala? The answer is yes, at least for a corner or so. The side drafting, we've seen drivers be pretty courteous tonight, but I have a feeling that patience and that courtesy might begin to wane. In the closing 25 laps, Wren almost collides with the back bumper of Aaron Espy there. And you mentioned it, Chris, he's kind of ducking that nose out. I'm curious, he's been pushing a lot. I think there's something to be said for your theory that is all about getting clean air on that front intake to maybe cool down that engine just a little bit. Side by side with David Moyer there in the 47. One car sideways, the 44, the 99 of Baum. Jackson, looks like one car, the 84, also involved in that. We are under caution. Not as big of a one as we've seen previously this evening, but that was a big moment for a handful of drivers. See who was involved in that lap number 53 incident. Oh boy, Chris, Evan Janick, our points leader, went off track there.
He missed it though.
As well.
Yeah, oh, and that might have been, I'm not sure, I think that might have been net code there, possibly between Jewett and the 44 of Kopp. I'm going to try to get a little bit closer right here and see if we can see if there was contact. I think that it was just, yeah, I think they got really close right there. It got that 44 sideways, 44 down into the 99 of Baum. There goes Kopp around right there. The 99 does a nice job to keep it straight right there. Brandon Willard involved right there. Man, Brandon Willard has had a tough couple weeks, hasn't he?
When there's a crash, it finds him, it feels like. It's just, it happened. It happened at Bristol a couple of times, and here we are at Daytona after Talladega, a great fourth place qualifying effort. Willard not going to maybe have the finish to show for that speed he had tonight on the high banks at Talladega. Regardless, we are under caution for the sixth time tonight, lap 54 of 80. But just about 25 laps left here from Talladega. If you're tuning in now, don't leave. It is going to be a wild conclusion to this race. And Chris, I think that the big moral of the story here, this is going to allow us to make it to the checkered flag on one tank of fuel. This very well could be the last pit stop of the night. I don't think we're going to see green flag pit stops tonight.
I don't think we are either, as we ride on board right here in the replay with Evan Janick, and you saw what a great job he did to avoid that crash. Caleb Hunt and others right there also doing a nice job to avoid that crash. So great driving tonight by some of these drivers to avoid some of the action that we've seen on track tonight.
Yeah, the wreck avoidance skills have been on point here at Talladega. Yeah, we are going to be seeing green flag pit stops, I think, as the leader, Jackson Hatala, is going to have to pick up the pace car, I believe, in turns number 3. Pit road should
and they're on pit
be
road
open
now, Ellis.
This time by. Sorry, yeah, my live button was not matched. They are on pit road right now. Hatala comes to the attention of his crew working on getting off pit road right now. Espy's going to beat him off. Derek Jewett's going to come off third. Brett Wren will be fourth.
And Adam Holston beat them all.
Oh, yeah, Adam Holston. Sorry about that. My my dad is a little slow tonight, trying to catch up, maybe still working through that last lap crash there. Adam Holston, your leader. Aaron Espy going to be second. Jackson Hatala third. Derek Jewett fourth. Brett Wren fifth. Chris, this is going to be getting wild here. I feel like we are getting down to business. And speaking of business, Tuckman VR says he wants another trivia question. Trivia question 3. So we work our sixth caution of the night. Looking at the leaderboard right now, I believe Caleb Hunt is atop the leaderboard with 2 points. Dan E's got a point, and Tuckman VR also has a point here. So no one is out of this for the potential Chris Buescher 164th scale diecast. The question is, what famous Talladega race was the last win scored by Dale Earnhardt Sr.? Was the famous Talladega race was the last win scored by Dale Earnhardt Sr.? Was it the 2000 Winston 500, the 1995 Die Hard 500, the 2001 EA Sports 500, or the 1999 Winston 500? What was the last win scored by Dale Earnhardt Sr. Let us know what year that was in the chat. Give us the year. Don't just give us the letter. First 2 correct answers are going to get the trivia point for question number 3. Looking at the leaderboard right now, you can see who's ranked where.
Ellis,
What famous Talladega race was the last win by Dale Earnhardt Sr.? Yeah, Chris.
Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to say that this race right here, and it's not because, I'm a massive Dale Earnhardt Sr. fan or anything like that, but it's probably one of my favorite races in NASCAR history. So I definitely know the answer to this one. It's definitely one of the most entertaining races in NASCAR history.
It was a wild finish, and if I remember correctly, what Dale Earnhardt Sr. did in that race was pretty remarkable. I could watch replays of that on loop quite a bit. Several fans getting those answers in the chat right now. I'll give you a hint. There are at least a couple wrong answers in the chat right now. So you got a chance, even if you haven't put your answer in yet, you got a chance to get on the leaderboard. Caleb Hunt with 2 points, Dan E with a point, Tuckman VR with a point as well. Giving away that Chris Buescher diecast tonight. Go ahead and they have taken the choose rule. Adam Holston chose the inside. Derek Jewett chose the outside. Aaron Espy is going to be tucked up behind the back bumper of the 8 of Adam Holston. Chris, it's going to be about 24-lap shootout. Definitely good to go on fuel. You can see Brett Wren's heart rate. He's getting nervous. Old boy's getting nervous. We talk about how calm, cool, and collected he is. This is the first time we've seen that heart rate really be this high all season, and that is a testament to just how difficult this track is. Yeah, sure, it's wide turns, wide sweeping turns. You can be full throttle, but it is nerve-wracking, and you got to white-knuckle this thing around. And Brett Wren doing a heck of a job. Been in the top 5 much of the evening. Getting ready for that restart. We'll go ahead and if no one's got any last guesses, we had about 10 participants in the chat that time. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to Slingshot Racing Media's channel just by hitting that subscribe button if you haven't done so far. We appreciate you joining in. The correct answer, Chris, I'll let you give the correct answer since this is one of your favorite races. What race was Dale Earnhardt's last win, his senior's last win?
That was the 2000 Winston 500, Ellis. It was the first race with the wicker and roof rail rules package. Probably the best superspeedway rules package NASCAR has ever had.
2000, indeed. Great race. Dale Earnhardt Sr.'s last win came in 2000 here at Talladega. Right now, Holston and Jewett, they're trying to get a win for themselves. Holston gets the jump on the field from the inside. Jewett to the outside. Jewett's now going to have to deal with that white and green 16 of Aaron Espy. Up the inside with the help of Jackson Hatala. The 45 of Jewett's got the help of Brett Wren. One car sideways down the front stretch as they cross the line. We'll continue. That was Matthew Kopp, if my data is correct. Brandon Willard may have been involved as well, seeing if we can't figure out what happened. Willard, big contact with the 44 and the 77. I believe we're still underway, though. No caution yet. They've got it cleaned up on the front straightaway. Adam Holston leads the field down the back straightaway into turn number 3. Aaron Espy not far behind. Jewett trying to get something going on the outside with Brett Wren and Reggie Kime not too far behind. Chris, one car I want to mention that hasn't been up here much at all, Douglas Wasaki in that number 11 is in the 6th position. Great job for Douglas right now. One race this season, I believe that was 7th place at Bristol. So not a bad start to the season, and he's got a good campaign going so far tonight.
Yeah, he does. He's got those reflective number 11 numerals right there.
Jewett, contact from the front bumper of Brett Wren. Jewett gets sent up the track. He's going to lose 1, 2, maybe 3 spots if he can't find a hole to get into.
And I thought that he was going to try to squeeze in line right there, right in front of the 06 of Curtis White, but he wisely decides not to right there as, he's falling to the back right here, but his car is still in one piece, Ellis.
He lives to fight another day, and that is the moral of the story. That's the goal for every driver. 23 laps left from Lincoln, Alabama, Talladega Superspeedway. 80-lap foray tonight for race number 9 of the Fall Creek Plumbing Series for Mystic Racing League. It's getting down to it. Holston, SB, and Hatala are your front three. They're separated by about 3 car lengths back from Douglas Wasaki, now up to 4th in that white and green number 11. Brett Wren slides down, almost makes contact with 84 of Jacob Cochran. That's the first 2-wide battle on the track as they careen down the back straightaway. Kime back to the number 24's back bumper with the number 47 of David Moyer making contact with Jacob Cochran there.
And here we're right on board with Brett Wren. You see the 9 of Kime right into the back bumper of that number 24. Trying to get that outside lane going, trying to get the speed up in that lane right here as they're inching up on those leaders. Here comes the 16 of Espy to the outside.
Espy climbs the banking now to the front straightaway. He's to the outside. He's got a bead on the number 8 of Holston, who's got the help from Jackson Hatala. But for Espy, help is on the way in the form of the 24 of Brett Wren, who delivers a big blow to the back bumper. It gets the 16 loose, but he continues on. He continues to push for the lead on the outside. 2 cars now climb the banking to form a third row through turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, that third lane right there starting to get some momentum right there. That's Chris Medford leading the outside lane right there with Derek Jewett as Brett Wren is doing all kinds of pushing to the back bumper of Aaron Espy.
Brett Wren pushes, but a big old push from Jewett sends the 46 of Chris Medford going into now the third place, 4th, I should say, on the outside. Third row is formed, Chris. They've got 3 cars in line. They might need a little bit more help if they're going to continue to deliver that momentum, but with Wren moving a little sideways, that's going to open the door. Here comes Medford, 3 wide for the lead. Medford with the help of Jewett. There's nothing Brett Wren can do about it. Aaron Baum right behind Jewett. Wow, Chris, that outside line has gotten going right now into turn 1.
Yeah, and the middle lane seems to be having all kinds of trouble right here. It looks like the pushes from the 24 to the 16 are not connecting as well as they would like. I think that's causing them to maybe lose some momentum right here. They're going to see if they can get back together. But yeah, we keep on seeing that 16 get sideways, Ellis.
That 16 continues to get sideways. We almost had a moment in the front of the field. They're headed down into turn number 3. Chris Medford in the black and red, number 46. Aaron Espy in the middle in the number 16. That's Adam Holston in the number 8. Pink machine down on the bottom. Espy and Holston now doing battle. It's a 3-wide battle behind them. Wren, another hard shot to the back of the 16, Chris. You mentioned it. That Supra and that Camaro, they're just not connecting the way they need to, at least to prevent big sideways action for the number 16. Is that a real thing, or the bumpers just not lining up on that number 24 and 16 very well?
Yeah, I think it's just hard to say right there. I just don't think that maybe they're in sync with each other, with each other's movements. Sometimes, that just happens on the racetrack. Yeah, because you see right here, you got the 45 to the rear bumper of Brett Wren. I think that those two are a little bit more, they might be a little bit more in sync with each other, just like it seems like the 8 and the 16 are a little bit more in sync with each other.
Yeah, and it is right now teamwork. This was one of our stories in pre-race, Chris. This matters. Of course it matters getting on a pit road, but who you draft with, who you know their racing style, you know their habits, you know their mannerisms in the cockpit. Oh, Brett Wren with a blow from the number 45 of Jewett, almost careens in the side of Adam Holston and Jackson Hatala, but they do not. They manage to hold on to it. Chris, the action is picking up. Fans at home, if you've got racing friends who love racing like this, send them the link right now. Get them on here to watch the last 20 laps or so of this race. They are not going to be disappointed. Help us out. Send them our way. Let us know in the chat also who you think's going to win. Who are you rooting for right now? Is it Wren? Is it Espy? Is it Holston? Is it Jewett? Is it Hatala? There are 20 cars, Chris, that can win this race now with just 18 laps left.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody that you see on the screen right here that is on the lead lap, they are in contention to win this race. Any one of them could win it right here as we're coming up here on the final closing laps of this thing.
Chris, the number 84 of Jacob Cochran, he's a car we've seen have speed at multiple tracks this season. He's another dark horse who's kind of been quiet much of the evening, lurking back there 5th on the inside row in that yellow and blue Ghost Energy machine. I get the sense that he is just waiting for the right time to get up to the front and deliver a couple of good pushes, potentially to make it to victory lane here. Right now, Espy, Holston, and Hatala dominate that inside line. They've lined up well. They're working well together. Espy might have found a draft partner that works a little bit better for him than Brett Wren up high in that number 24. Espy seems to be more comfortable outside inside right now, leading the pack in that number 16. They've got a big gap all the way back to the number 11 of Douglas Wasaki. It's about 3 or 4 car lengths as Wasaki on the inside does battle with Brett Wren on the outside, Jacob Cochran and Chris Medford in the 46. They continue to fight. They work their way by the 44. That 44 is Matthew Kopp, who's involved in an earlier crash. He gets out of the way on the inside line. Looks like the field is going to make it around him, Chris. 4 or 5 cars now. Single file. Brett ran into the wall. He's going to careen into David Moyer. Everyone's going to hold on to it. Wow. Boy, I'm going to need a breather after this, Chris.
Yeah, that was almost, I think that was a late block right there from the 24, and it was almost too late. It was almost a big crash right there on the backstretch, but everybody did a nice job recovering right there. The bump drafting, Ellis, is getting more and more insane here in the closing laps of this thing.
It is getting insane, and it is going to continue to get more and more and more insane. Brett Wren really falling back after a near crash there here on lap number 66. Top 7 or 8 as they run. It's SB, Holston, Hatala, Wasaki, Cochran, Moyer, White, and Hartzog. They're all single file. Brett Wren is that lone car on the outside now with a dancing partner behind him who tries to make hay on the outside. One car sideways. Hartzog into the wall. That's going to put us under the 7th caution tonight with just 15 laps. Can they gather it up? We almost had a caution right in front of that between Gino Volante and Brett Wren and Jacob Cochran. Almost slowing down here. We almost had a caution. These drivers are eager, Chris, to get these laps down and to have a shot at getting into victory lane. We're going to see if we can't find out what happened here just a moment ago with Douglas Wasaki and a couple of other cars. Actually happened way further back than Douglas, I should say.
Yeah, I think
might have started with a bump draft from Jewett.
Yeah, I think that this is actually another stack up right here. It looks like a few drivers got a little bit jammed up right here down the backstretch on that inside lane right there. Yeah, Jewett looks like maybe into the back of... it looks like maybe Baum into the back of Jewett. Jewett into the back of Hartzog. Hartzog goes into the wall right there. Kime and Baum come together. Both of them do a nice job of saving it. Also a great job by Thomas Hartzog to save it as well. And all these drivers, they stayed kind of straight right there on the backstretch, Ellis.
Yeah, they did a good job of minimizing the impact of that crash on more than 1 or 2 drivers. Again, we mentioned it, when we're racing this close, it is hard not to have those sorts of incidents going 190, 200 miles an hour, 15 laps left in the race going for the win. All bets are off. And yeah, I thought, honestly, I saw the bump drafting picking up, but we started to see some single file lanes forming, and I thought, boy, we're settling down here at the end of the race, and sure enough, Chris, I think we're set up here for a 10-lap shootout at Talladega. You better buckle those belts tight, folks, like I mentioned earlier. If you got friends around that enjoy this sort of racing, shoot them the link to this right now. Get them on here so they can see these final 10 laps. Race number 9 of the Fall Creek Plumbing Grand National Series for Mystic Racing League. I'm Ellis Thomas, joined in the booth by Chris Smith at Slingshot Racing Media, bringing you all the live racing action. I don't think we're going to see any drivers come down pit road, Chris. Can we focus in on 5th place, though, for just a moment? Gino Volante. 40 laps ago, I thought this guy was out of the race. And somehow he has managed to work his way back into the top 5, seemingly out of nowhere. Chris, that 35, that Sunoco machine's got this thing powered up here. He might have a shot at this win. He might be the dark horse.
Yeah, he very well could be. He's taking advantage of those fast repairs, gotten his damage fixed on pit road, and he finds himself in the top 5. You know, I mentioned before, you know, when they were in that pack right there, every driver you see on screen has a shot to win this thing. They're all in this, and I mean, that hasn't changed here, Ellis, as we come up on 10 laps to go. You know, Gino has persevered all night tonight, so yeah, kudos to him for that, and for a great performance tonight in what I believe we said it's his first race of the season.
It is indeed his first race of the season. Great run going so far for the number 35. We'll see where he ends up at the end of the night. As we mentioned before, under caution for the 7th time tonight. The guy who took the worst end of that was Hartzog in that number 98, Thomas Hartzog. It had a good run, top 10 much of the evening. Probably not going to have the finish to show for it. I don't know if he had his quick repair left or not. He's currently on pit road, so that tells me the answer to that question is likely no. Hey, we've got a two-way tie atop the leaderboard for trivia. We're going to wait to do the trivia until after the race. So you got to stick around if you're in the running, or you want to have a shot. Even if you got 1 point, you still got a shot to get up there and tie it. And if it is a tie, we pick a random winner from whoever is tied. So we'll do that trivia question at the end of the race before we hit up our top 3 drivers for their post-race interviews. Chris, I wonder if we can get a word with anyone. We'll see if we got anyone available, see what's going through their mind right now. I want to pull in Douglas Wasaki. Let's see if he's going to be a good sport here.
All right.
Actually, no, Brett, your choice. Dealer's choice. Brett Wren or Douglas Wasaki?
No, I'm going to leave it up to you. I can't handle all this pressure.
Okay, all right. All right, we're going to talk to Brett Wren then. Let's get him in here. He's going to be coming from 5-Star Racing, Move 2, Broadcast Booth 1. Hey, Brett Wren, it's Ellis and Chris in the Slingshot booth. You got a moment?
What's up, buddy?
Oh boy, we're gonna have to send a doctor over to your house, man. That heart rate's been up to 120 plus. We've seen we've seen you deliver some, let's just call them glancing blows to the back of Aaron Espy's number 16. Looked like y'all were not communicating well, or at least those bumpers were not lining up well. We got just about 10 laps left. You're sitting in the 8th or 9th position, man. What's it gonna take to get this thing done tonight in this final stretch?
Honestly, buddy, I mean, we have Adam Holston up here in second. It's really just going to be a communication thing. With the 5-Star Racing team up here, we're going to have to really kind of figure out what's going to be our best move. Me and Adam both went high here, so we'll just have to kind of see what we're going to need to do to get to this finish to hopefully get at least a podium for both of us.
Well, man, you are doing a good job. We're going to let you focus on this finish. Good luck out there. Checkers or wreckers, right?
That's right, buddy. Thank you, man.
All right, wish your teammates, absolutely wish your teammates good luck as well. Have a good night. All right, so we heard there from Brett Wren back in the 8th position. Leaders have taken the choose. Adam Holston is going up top. Aaron Espy is elected to restart from the inside. Chris, I got my eyes on that number 11 of Douglas Wasaki. I don't know. I just got a feeling. Not saying I'm playing favorites here, but I got a feeling something's going to happen with that number 11. I think we might have an underdog story getting ready to go down here at Talladega. Pace car is going to peel off. It's going to be an 11-lap shootout for the win. We might not be done with the cautions yet, but we got some green flag racing headed our way. It's Holston in the purple number 8. Aaron Espy in that 16 on the inside. Waiting to get in that Geico restart zone. Espy masters the throttle at the halfway point. Gets away cleanly. No one to his outside. Adam Holston about 2 car lengths back. Wasaki loses a couple spots. He's the odd man out on the inside. The 4 drivers to his right are going to zoom by with a head of steam lined up in the draft. Several cars. Caleb Hunt to Evan Janick sideways in turn number 1. We're under caution for the 8th time tonight. Big crash involving 3 or 4 cars, including a couple favorites. Breaks out in turn 1 right after that restart. We're going to see if we can't figure out what just happened, but I have a feeling Caleb Hunt not going to be happy. Not going to be happy with the result of that crash. Chris, you know what? Something happened with the 71. I'm not sure. Let's see if we can find out.
Yeah, it looks like something did happen to the 71. So I tell you what, the best way to figure this out, Ellis, is if we go on board with the 71 and ride right here with Evan Janick. See if we can maybe hear something go on. Oh, Ellis, I think
Did he miss a gate on a shifter?
It sounded like he crossed the gate, maybe trying to go from 3rd gear to 4th gear, but maybe it went to 2nd gear instead.
Oopsie daisy. That's a big oopsie for Aaron Espy, the points leader. Not only going to impact his race. Evan Janick, the points leader, going to impact his race, but also caught up the 80 right behind him, and that 80... I might be blind. For some reason, I can't see.
That's the 08.
The 08. Sorry, I'm just having trouble reading these roof rail numbers that are facing the fans instead of the infield. I appreciate the nod to the fans, though, with that number placement. So right now, that's going to put us under the caution for the 8th time. Aaron Espy is going to continue to lead this race. And if you're Espy, you like what you're seeing with these late race cautions?
Yeah, definitely. It's less opportunity to crash. That's how I always view it here at Daytona or Talladega is riding on board right here with Caleb Hunt to show you what he saw, and you're just going to see a bunch of cars fall into his lap here right now. Yeah, that engine of Evan Janick's actually expired right when he did that as well, you know, just to make matters a little bit worse for our points leader right there. But really unfortunate situation for a lot of these drivers involved.
Dan E in the chat says, paddle shifter for the win. I think that's a situation where Janick probably would have preferred the paddle shifters. That the realism is great, but in those moments where we miss the gates, you know, crossing over the gate, as Chris says, it's you're going to be looking back at that one thinking what could have been for Janick, but also a couple other cars behind. Right now, Aaron Espy is your leader. Adam Holston second, Jackson Hatala and Douglas Wasaki third and fourth. They have been the top four for the last good while of this race. And this could be a big points shakeup tonight, Chris. Evan Janick was your points leader. Adam Holston was 16 points back. This might be an opportunity, Chris, for Adam Holston to take over the points league with Evan Janick back to 22nd position tonight. We could have a new points leader in town at the end of the night.
We definitely could. He's definitely in prime position for that. And yeah, Adam Holston has been on quite a run here lately. Unfortunately for him, I shouldn't say unfortunately for him, because we don't know how this is going to go, but there are plenty of opportunities for more crashing here in the final few laps of this race. I mean, we're going to be optimistic, though, Ellis, and you know, we're going to hope that we go green to the end. But it's realistic to expect that Adam is going to have to dodge some more crashes, possibly to make it to the end. But man, he has been on quite a roll here lately, hasn't he?
Yeah, just we've said he's been consistent all season long. He started off with a third place finish at Daytona, finished second in Atlanta, picked up a win at Las Vegas, 9th at Martinsville, finished third, I believe, at Bristol last week. It's just, I'm almost thinking he might be even a bigger championship favorite than Evan Janick right now, based on just the consistency. Janick's been just as consistent, but I think he's right there neck and neck. These are the two guys I'm going to be thinking might be battling it out for the championship at the end of the season, at the finale.
And Ellis, you know, you talk about him winning at Las Vegas. You know, after us driving Xfinity cars at Las Vegas last night, you got to be on your game to win in these cars at that track. It ain't easy. It's a tough combination, and yeah, he definitely did a great job that night. And looking to see if he can get that second victory here tonight.
If you are just joining us for the first time tonight, first of all, make sure to hit that like button. Subscribe. Appreciate you joining in for Slingshot Racing Media's broadcast of race number 9 of the Fall Creek Plumbing National Series from Mystic Racing League. Currently, Aaron Espy is your leader, Adam Holston second. We got, I believe, Chris, we are going to have, I don't think they're lining up yet, I think this is going to be a 6-lap shootout here at Talladega. It's been a wild race. 8 cautions. We've had at least 10 or 11 different leaders on the evening. And we've seen bump drafting. We've seen bump drafting gone right. We've seen bump drafting gone wrong. We've seen incredible saves and incredible wreck avoidance. And we've still got 20 cars on the lead lap. All of them have a shot at this win in the final 6-lap stretch of this race. Let us know in the chat, who are you rooting for? Let us know who you think's going to win. We got the final trivia question of the night coming up in the post race before we do those interviews. Just letting you know now, I believe we've got currently a 2-way tie for the lead in trivia, and some people could make it a 3 or 4-way tie as well. So no one is out of the zone of possibilities to win that Chris Buescher diecast in our trivia competition tonight. Boy, Chris, I think this might be a great opportunity before they get fully lined up and gridded up. I think we might take one more opportunity here from Whiplash Simcams and gather our breath for what's going to be an incredible conclusion, setting up the final 5 laps here at Talladega. We'll be back in a shake of a lamb's tail. All right, back here from the virtual Talladega Motor Speedway, getting ready for the final 6 laps of racing in what has been a thrilling evening at Talladega for the Mystic Racing League Fall Creek Plumbing National Series. Just about half a lap away from the restart. We've seen 10-plus leaders tonight, 8 cautions. I don't know if we're done yet, Chris, but Eric Espy, Adam Holston, Doug Wasaki, Jackson Hatala. We got, really, I don't even know why I'm just listing 6, because we got 20 guys out here who could potentially vie for the win. Anything can happen. If you're on that pit box for any of these drivers, what are you telling them in the last 6 laps?
Well, the first thing I'm going to tell them is think about the drivers that you've worked well with all night tonight. You know, think about the drivers that maybe the bump drafts have felt really good from them. If you can see them on the track, this might be the time to work with them. Only to a certain point, though, Willis. We're coming down to it right here where teammates are going to start to not matter here in the final closing laps of this thing. You kind of got to be selfish at this point. Restrictor plate racing, superspeedway racing is kind of all about being selfish in the closing laps of this thing, especially if you want to be successful. And we're coming down to it.
We're coming down to it. Pace car is coming down to pit road potentially for the last time tonight. 6 laps remaining. 6 laps of possibilities. That is 24 corners. Roughly about 15 miles or so. 15, 16 miles of racing left from Talladega. Aaron Espy's the control car. He's the leader. He's going to mash that throttle and get going. We're back under green. 6 laps left at Talladega. Adam Holston, that purple car to the outside, gets a big shove from Jackson Hatala. Doug Wasaki, the lone man, the white car on the inside. He's got help now from Jacob Cochran, that blue and yellow Ghost Energy machine. It's a 5-car battle. Brett Rinn's going to have something to say about it. 1 car almost sideways. They save it. Brett Rinn joins the fray to the inside in that green and white number machine. Keep an eye on that heart rate monitor to the outside. These guys are racing hard. 1 car, the 46 of Chris Medford, dives to the outside. Does he have help potentially from Alex Pollock right behind him? Meanwhile, the top 6 can't be separated by more than a car length as they cross through turns 3 and 4 on the front straightaway to take the 5 to go marker from the flagman. Doug Wasaki is your new leader as he winches his way by. 1 car Holston sideways. Rinn, Atala, several cars. Carnage through the tri-oval here at Talladega. 6, 7, 8 cars involved. Adam Holston had an opportunity to walk away tonight with the points lead. That appears to be dashed with just 5 laps to go. It's going to be a green-white checkered finish from Talladega, folks.
Yeah, we said it, Ellis. He had to survive if he wanted to take that points lead tonight, and unfortunately he did not. And I think that the crash actually was triggered in his vicinity, so we're going to go back and see if we can see what happened. I think it was a deal where it was a 3-wide move possibly being made right here from Jackson Hatala, and I think that maybe the driver of the 8 car right here of Adam Holston maybe didn't know that they were 3 wide or was trying to protect that position right here. The 16 of Espy gets a little bit sideways right there. Here comes the 09 in the middle, and yeah, just tags the left rear of Holston. And big crash is gonna take place right there. A lot of cars crashing right here on the outside. There's Alex Pollock right there. The 45 of Derek Jewett, Zach White. The 99 of Aaron Baum also involved, Ellis. Lots of cars who had solid nights tonight, unfortunately taken out in this crash right here in the closing stages.
Several cars involved as the leaders slow to, I believe, let the pace car catch up, who's several meters behind them. Pace car coming down the front straightaway through the tri-oval right now. And, yeah, I think this is going to leave us in a situation. We're going to be on 77 of 80 laps right now. This should leave us in a situation where we do have a green-white checkered finish, 2-lap shootout. And yeah, I didn't think we were done with the cautions yet. If you've been around so far tonight, you probably guessed the same thing. Super Speedway Racing just has a way of bringing out the sheet metal cutters from these pit crews every single time. You're never safe no matter where you are. And Chris, that happened in the top 5. So whether you're up at the front or at the back, it's go time. Anything can happen. Let's talk about who's in front right now. Who's it's really go time for. Doug Wisocki is your leader. He had just taken the lead from Aaron Espy a couple corners before that carnage broke out in the front straightaway. Aaron Espy is second, Jacob Cochran third. Reggie Kime has kind of survived the night, just quietly keeping his holding serve in fourth position. Curtis White, Chris, in that 06. Maybe a big underdog story here. Chris Mefford as well in the 46 with Joey Beam. We got some names, including Gino Volante in 8th, David Wallace in 9th. We're not used to seeing these guys running in the top 10. I think we got a big story brewing, Chris. I think you have to go all the way back to 15th place to find a driver who's won a race this season in the Mystic Racing League Fall Creek Plumbing National Series.
Yeah,
so someone's getting ready for their first win of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about it leading into tonight. That this was a big opportunity race for a lot of drivers who might possibly want to achieve their first victory of the season, and a lot of drivers got a really good shot at it tonight, Ellis.
It's going to be wild, eh? Let us know in the chat who you think's going to win this. Take a look at the standings. Throw a guess out there. Who you rooting for to bring home the victory tonight at Talladega? If you haven't liked the video, if you're watching, I'll just give it a thumbs up. Yeah, it takes a millisecond to click that thumbs up button. It helps us tremendously. Doesn't cost you a thing. Same can be said about subscribing to the channel. You're going to get up-to-date content, live racing weekly. Chris, we're getting ready to have at least 2 series, 2 nights a week of live racing action. We're gearing up here at Slingshot Racing Media. Big things coming down the road. Make sure to subscribe so you can follow every single moment of that. We got trivia, final question coming up here right at the conclusion of this race. We got 4 or 5 guys who, fans in the chat, Chris, who could potentially win that free diecast car. It all is going to come down to that final question. Pace car right now leads them down the front straightaway. I believe we're getting set up for the choose rule. Lights, I think lights are out in the pace car, yeah. It's going to be Wisocki on the inside, Espy on the outside.
Yeah, I was going to say, Ellis, if you tuned in here to Slingshot Racing Media on Monday night, you saw just about as much action in the Spark Racing League's late model series, Ellis. That was pretty wild, and I think that what we've seen so far tonight, I think it would kind of match that. I think this has been pretty action-packed as well. A short track, though, versus a super speedway.
This has been some late model feel. It's got a late model vibe to it, as the kids say, right? Vibes only here as they work their way down the backstretch. Getting ready for, I'm not sure if they're going to count this as a green-white checkered. I don't think they are. So this will not be a green-white checkered attempt. Hopefully we can make it to the white flag without a caution. We'll have to go 1 lap of clean racing to make that happen and see if we can't get a winner here without another caution. Connor says there's going to be 3 OT. Connor, don't put that out into the air, my friend. Don't put that out into the air. You close your mouth. Stop those fingers.
Hey, we need good vibes here, Connor.
Good vibes only in the chat at this point. No matter who you're rooting for, let us know who it is. Share this link with some friends. Get them up in the chat. Share the excitement with them. It is going to be wild, Chris. I want to try to save my voice for the final corner. I cannot promise anything, though. Just brace yourself. You might have to turn your volume down a little bit. I think it's going to get a little wild here. We mentioned you have to go all the way back to 16th to find the first driver who's won a race this season. 15 drivers have a chance to get their first win of the season. And I think claws are going to come out. Pace car off the track for the potentially final time tonight. They work their way through the tri-oval. That's Wisocki on the inside in the number 11. The 16 is Aaron Espy to the outside. Wisocki's going to be the first to mash the throttle. He's going to get away cleanly. No competition to his outside. It's going to be Jacob Cochran next to Aaron Espy working that inside line, seeing if he can't hook up with the back bumper of the number 11 as they send it off into turn number 1 for the penultimate time tonight at Talladega.
Wisocki right here with a push right here from Jacob Cochran. Cochran direct to the rear bumper of the 11 right here. Looking to get hooked
crash
up.
Down the back straightaway. The caution is out. We cannot afford, or I should say avoid, the dreaded green-white checker. Drivers could not keep it on track for more than half a lap there. Energy and intensity and tension building at Talladega erupts in the 9th caution of the night. And this, Chris, will set up a green-white checker.
Yeah, I think that we went back here. Maybe, we'll see if we can actually go back here. I think that maybe we missed it. Oh yeah, we caught it in action right here. So yeah, here's the 24. Okay, so Derek Jewett right here is going. I mean, Ellis, we're 2 laps to go right here. You got to get everything that you can possibly get. Derek Jewett has a run right here to the middle. He's going to take that run right here. It looks like Brett Wren is going to try to cover that spot. Unfortunately, he's too late. They do make contact right there. Wren gets turned down into Zach White right there. Caleb Hunt taking evasive action right there to the bottom of the track. Jewett and Wren spin around. Brandon Willard going to make some contact with Brett Wren right there. The 12 and the 24 taking some significant damage here in the closing laps of this race.
I think it's going to be even wilder. Green-white checkered. We allow 3 green-white checkers. If you're racing with us and you're in the chat, let us know how many green-white checkered attempts do we have. Part of me thinks it might be 1. I think that's I think this is going to be our solo one and only, which is good news for these drivers. I think they're ready to maybe pack this thing up after the last lap or so and get out of Talladega in one piece. We're gonna have to look pretty hard to find a driver who hasn't been involved in something tonight here at Talladega, Chris. Several drivers involved in that last lap caution, but Douglas Wasaki, Jacob Cochran, Aaron Espy, Curtis White, they all stayed out of trouble. Reggie Kime, that was near the back of the field. Brett Wren, Caleb Hunt, Derek Jewett, all getting involved. You mentioned Brandon Willard, Chris. It just, if you're Brandon, you got to laugh at this point because it's not him. It's literally when a wreck happens, it finds him. It seems like every single time.
Yeah, just unfortunate last few weeks for Brandon, but yeah, hopefully that will end quickly for him. It'll end soon for him, hopefully. Yeah, this has been a little bit been a rough night for a few drivers here. We have had a number of cautions over the course of these 80 laps, and not sure if it's because of maybe having that fast repair. Maybe some drivers feel like they can be a little bit more aggressive. If we didn't have that fast repair, Ellis, though, we wouldn't be seeing all these cars here in the closing laps of the race right here on the track, all having a shot to win. So sort of a double-edged sword, right?
It really is. It is a double-edged sword. Damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. And we're reaping the benefits, but at the same time, we're probably paying the price for it in the closing laps. Wasaki, Cochran, Espy, White, they are the top 4. Kime, Medford, Wallace, and 8th are 5th. Beam, rather, is 5th through 8th. Aaron Baum and Gino Vellante finish out the top 10. Joshua Gillen, I know we got some Gillen fans probably watching in the chat. He's 11th. Zach White's had a quiet night, Chris, but he's quietly worked his way from 24th all the way up to 12th and has managed to keep that car on track up to the final green-white checkered here. Adam Holston, the guy who brought out, or was involved, I should say, in that caution just 2 cautions ago. The previous caution before this one is up to 13th. Caleb Hunt, Alex Pollock, Caleb Hunt, Jackson Natala, 14th through 16th, and you mentioned it, Chris, 19 cars on the lead lap. Really looks like 17 of those have a legitimate chance at winning with minimal damage or damage that has been repaired, I believe. So, boy, it's been wild. I think it's going to continue to be wild. We've been mentioning, if you got friends who like this sort of thing, send the link to them. Text it to them real quick. Get them on here and tune them into us to watch this intense finish. We got trivia coming up at the conclusion of this before the post-race interviews. And I believe we're going to get the one to go this time by. Drivers got to be thinking that, Chris, where you want to be here? If you're Douglas Wasaki or you're Jacob Cochran, which one you want to be? You want to be first or second, or do you want to be back on that second row, maybe third or fourth?
We're going to see these drivers make this choose right here. It looks like Cochran wants to be on the inside. I think that I personally want to be leading the lane. More times than not, Ellis, here in the last few Talladega races I've been in, it's the bottom lane that moves towards the end on these restarts. I don't know what it is, but it's the lane that moves. It's going to take some good pushers, I think, up on that top lane to make sure that top lane can move, especially if the driver who is in control of the race is restarting on the bottom. So, yeah, I think Jacob Cochran is thinking maybe that their lane possibly here is going to get clear of the inside, because I don't think he's content to ride, obviously. I think he wants to try to win the race. But I think that, you're going to possibly see him try to stay in line, try to push that 11 clear, and then maybe possibly make a move on the white flag lap to try to win this race.
Who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah.
We can guess. We can play armchair quarterback here all night long, and I don't think any of us, whether we're in the booth, in the car, or in the chat, know what's going to happen. That's the beauty of Talladega. That's the beauty of Daytona. These super speedways that are often criticized by drivers as a crapshoot and a dice roll, that element is true, but there's nothing like the excitement that those final laps bring in terms of just mystery.
Yeah, and Ellis, I don't want to, short sell Douglas Wasaki at all. He's had a great night, find himself in position right here, and I would want to be, honestly, exactly where he is. I would want to have to make them drive around me to win this race. I'd want to be in the lead, and I'd want to be in control. So I think that he's in the best possible position to be in.
Best possible position to be in right now. Douglas Wasaki, I think the best position might be the pace car that's not going to have to be in anything that happens here. Pace car getting ready to pull off. Douglas Wasaki is the control car. This is one of one, green, white, checkered. This is going to be the finish right here as far as we know. Wasaki on the inside in that 11. Aaron Espy in the 16 to the outside. Who's going to win it? Is it going to be one of them, or is it going to come from row 2, 3, or 4? Green flag is out. Wasaki takes it. Espy loses about a car length. Now it's Jacob Cochran trying to fill the void, get a run on Wasaki, and gain right back up to the back bumper. It's going to be Curtis White, not too far off the back bumper, who's pushing Espy to the lead. White's going to be Espy's best friend. Cochran is going to be Wasaki's best friend. We've made it 2 corners further than the last restart, down the back stretch for the next to last time. 1 car to the outside, that's Kime. He's got the help of David Wallace to the outside. Wallace and Kime out of nowhere. It's 3 wide, 3 rows back for the win. 1.5 laps to go. They're getting ready to come to the white flag. 1 car in the wall, the 80. Can he keep it down? Holston, no. Jewett, can they save it? Will they let him race? Yellow flag is out. That will go to Douglas Wasaki. We're going to have to wait for official word if we're going to get another green, white, checkered finish. But right now, I'm looking, we might get it here.
Yeah, it looks like that the ticker has recycled, Ellis. So, yes, we will get another attempt at a green, white checker here.
Are you frustrated if you're a driver, Chris?
Yeah, this is one of the. I mean, we had one kind of last night, didn't we? Caution after caution after caution. This does get a little bit frustrating if you're a driver on the track, But also here, I mean, closing 10 laps of the race at Talladega. It's also kind of to be expected at Talladega. Where you're going to have these cautions lap after lap after lap. But yeah, Ellis, I think that. I think that these drivers are really just hoping, can we get to that white flag, please?
Yeah, I can sympathize with them, but it's been great racing all night long. Douglas Wasaki was probably hoping that was going to be the only green-white checker, and I know that he wants to win this race, and he was glad to see that crash going on behind him, but now this restart just means it's one more opportunity for him to be part of the next crash. So at this point, you mentioned that you just want it to be over. I think maybe no matter where you are, unless you're Jacob Cochran or Aaron Espy, where you figure you got a real chance here in the final lap or so to get by. Right now they pick up the pace car on the front straightaway. Probably going to be a short caution here. We'll see if anyone comes down pit road. Several people who were involved in that lap 84 collision. Caleb Hunt's going to lead those cars down pit road. And should be getting the one to go next time by. Not this time by, but next time by. Chris, let's go ahead and take one more moment to hear from our partners at Whiplash SimCams. We'll be back right on the other end of this break for the conclusion of the Talladega race number 9 for Mystic Racing League's Fall Creek Plumbing Series. We'll be back in a moment.
Hey partner, I'm Barry, your pocket crew chief. the very first AI-powered mechanic for sim racing. Got a car that's a little loose or tight? Just tell me how it's handling, and I'll whip up instant setup recommendations just for you. Want me to get even more precise? Snap a picture of your setup, and I'll fine-tune it to perfection. And hey, I'm not just about giving orders. I'll explain why every adjustment matters, so you can really understand your ride. I'll even teach you the science behind the setup. Ever wondered why the track bar is so important? I've got the answer. With Pocket Crew Chief, I'll make you smarter, faster, and race ready. So what are we waiting for? Let's build to win.
All right, back here live at the virtual Talladega Motor Speedway. Ellis Thomas and Chris Smith for Slingshot Racing Media bringing you the conclusion of race number 9, the Fall Creek Plumbing National Series for Mystic Racing League. This is going to be green-white checker number 2 of 3, and it's going to be a wild one, Chris. We've had a couple crashes here in the last 5 laps or so. This is the money laps coming up. We've been on those for a few minutes now, but we're running out of time. We're running out of opportunities for these drivers. Aaron Espy, Doug Wysocki, Jacob Cochran, Chris Medford, Curtis White, top 10, top 15. They got a chance here. Right now, we still have 18 cars on the lead lap. I would say at least 13 or 14 of those are in drivable condition that could have a potential shot to win this race. One car is still driving around with a little smoke coming out of it. Gino Volante, he's
trying.
That car's that's seen better days, but mad respect for just keeping it out there, persevering. It's a good life lesson there for Gino, as well as the fans watching at home. Boy, it's going to be these 2 cars. They've chosen their lanes. Wysocki chose the inside. Aaron Espy chose the outside. And that's all they can do. You mentioned before we had that last restart, you want to be Doug Wysocki. You want to be that inside car. You want to be that leader. You want to be the guy who has to make them drive around you rather than the one who has to figure out the way to get around the leader. The race is in the control. It's in the hands of Doug Wysocki in that number 11. Seeing if he can't get his first win on the evening right now. Aaron Espy going to do everything he can do to get his first win. Meanwhile, you have to go all the way back to 7th, Chris. Adam Holston, he's back up to 7th after a crash less than 8 laps ago. Seemingly put him out of contention for the win, but he's looking to claim race to win number 2 of the season. Pace car is off. It's going to be Doug Wysocki on the inside, Aaron Espy on the outside. Let us know who you think is going to win in the chat. The control car is Wysocki. He's got to enter that blue zone to take the green flag. He mashes the throttle. Great restart. Wysocki gets away cleanly. Volante with smoke trailing from behind on the inside. Car's going to get around him. Wysocki now going to have to hold off Espy, Cochran, and maybe Chris Medford back there on the outside in that black and red number 46. We made it through a corner. Now 2 corners, 2 cars by 2 cars all the way back to about 8th, 9th, 10th. You have to go back to Alex Pollock in the 92, way up the track. One car sideways, Wren, the number 1 sideways, and we're going to get another caution. We just can't seem to make it to the checkered flag tonight, Chris.
Yeah,
I think we're out of green-white checkers. This is going to be it, as far as I know.
Yeah, this next one will be the last attempt right here. Watching Brett Wren right here, I don't know if he's the one who calls it. The first one I saw going around right here is actually Joey Beam, so we'll follow him right here. And yeah, it looks like some contact from the right front right there of the 99 of Aaron Baum into Beam, and Brett Wren gets involved in that. We're actually going to go back and maybe see if we can get a little bit better perspective of this crash right here as it transpired. Yeah, just a little bit more room probably need to be given right here. We are coming down to the end though right here, and it looks like the 99 was trying to fill this gap right here behind the 1 right here of Beam, and gets to the middle right there. Yeah, it kind of slides up into the 1 of Beam right there. tags him. Brett Wren, innocent victim right here, nowhere to go. He goes for a trip in the spin cycle, locks it down, releases those brakes, gets going straight, and he's going to be able to get back going here for this final green-white checkered attempt.
I had a good feeling about that one. I don't know. I guess my vibes weren't on check there, but you mentioned it. A couple cars careening off the back bumper. It is late race action. Things happen. But we just got to make it to the end here. I think this is it. If the caution comes out at this point, the race will be over. I am curious, Chris, what race directors might do if an incident that does involve a caution were to come out behind the leaders and it doesn't throw a yellow automatically. Will they let them race back the line? I guess we might have to wait to find that out. Hopefully, Adam Holston, Chris, he's up to 6th position. The only one-time winner in the field in the top 15 right now is in 6th position. He's not out of it. He's going to be starting potentially on the 3rd row or higher here. So got a lot to keep our eye on. I think we got 10, 15 drivers who are still in contention. Tasik says Holston back up to 6th. I think we got a Holston fan in the chat with Tasik. And we, I feel like we ought to just do trivia right now while we got the time. What do you think?
Yeah,
let's view the chat. Get ready. Final trivia question coming at you so we can jump straight to the post-race interviews and get everyone out of here tonight once the checkered flag flies. Final question, pulling up the leaderboard right now. Big things happening. We got Caleb Hunt with 2 points. Dan E., Tuckman VR, Tasik, and Connor all have 1. So if any of them get the win, get the trivia here, it becomes a tie. And we draw a random name with a tie. Here's your question. Talladega Superspeedway was originally built on what type of land? Was it a cotton plantation, a swamp, an old airfield, or a former mining site? Let us know not just the letter, but give us a part of the answer when you type in your correct guess in the chat. What do you think Talladega Superspeedway was originally built on? What type of land was it built on? Let us know in the chat. You can see the leaderboard up there. Several fans with an opportunity to win trivia tonight and take home that free Chris Buescher diecast. Tasik gets his answer in. We'll see if anyone else is going to follow suit. Several fans can win this as we let that trivia simmer just a bit on screen. Drivers working their way around. I believe they're going to get the one to go this time where they will take the choose rule, potentially. Looks like Wasaki's lined up to reclaim that inside line. Aaron Espy on the outside. See if they continue that trajectory here. I believe we're going to get the one to go. Remember, Talladega's got a start-finish line that is a little bit past the tri-oval, so a little bit of extra racing distance there for drivers to make up once they get through the typical tri-oval, and that straightaway isn't, that start-finish line isn't until further down, almost going into turn number 1. Wasaki's going to choose the inside. Aaron Espy looks like he is going to line up on the outside. Meanwhile, the 84 of Cochran on the inside. Mefford's going to be on the outside in the 46. All right. Trivia. We'll let it simmer for another corner or so. We'll see if we don't get a couple ties here. Try to look through the answers right now to see who got in their answer for what Talladega Superspeedway was originally built on. What type of land? Caleb Hunt, you can't just say D. You got to give us a part of the answer, buddy. You got to give us a part of the answer because I don't know what you mean by D. They don't necessarily have letters on them. So give me a part of the answer if you want points for that answer, if it is indeed correct. Not sure what you meant by D. Right now, back straightaway, getting ready for the conclusion here. Race number 9. I feel like I've said it 1,000 times, Chris, but this is it. We promise. This is it. It cannot go any further than 3 green-white checkers. So we're going to walk away with a winner. This will indeed be the final restart.
Ellis,
go ahead.
We're teachers. We're used to repeating ourselves. So, I mean, yeah, it's just kind of part of the game, isn't it?
It's been a long day of repeating myself, let me tell you. Right now, 3 and 4. Turns 3 and 4. They're going through turns 3 and 4. Getting ready to come to the, I guess, final green flag of the race. Then they'll see the white flag and the checkered flag. Up front, Doug Wasaki, that white car to the inside. He's looking for his first win alongside Aaron Espy in that 16, looking to do the same exact thing. We're going to reveal the winner to trivia here right after the checkered flag flies. But let's go ahead. Pace car peels off. It's going to be Espy on the outside with Saki on the inside. If a caution happens, that's it. If a caution happens after the white flag, leaders will race back to the line. They head through the trioval right now, getting ready to enter the blue restart zone. Wisaki hits it. The field jams up just a little bit. Everyone continues on. Couple cars are going to be the big losers on this one, losing about 4 car lengths. All the way back there, I believe, is Curtis White in the 06. He's going to have to make quick work catching up. Espy dives to the outside. He's got to run on the outside of the number 11 of Wisaki. He's going to have help in the form of Medford coming up to the back of Espy. He's going to have Holston right behind him. 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. Holston, the first car to jump to the third line. Joshua Gillett and Alex Pollock right behind him. It's going to be a 3-wide battle for the lead into turns 3, Chris.
Yeah, Holston right here with a great push from Joshua Gillen. Gillen might have tagged the wall right there, but Holston has the momentum. Is he going to slide down into the middle lane, or is he going to stay up high?
Holston remains high. He's got Gillen behind him. They're going to try to make it to the white flag. Will we have a green flag race to the end of it? We're going to make it to the white flag. Holston, Gillen, they've lost momentum on the outside. As soon as I say that, Gillen gets a run. He's going to push Holston. It's Espy and Medford up front. They're trying to hold out the rest of the field. We're going to have a caution. It's out, but it doesn't matter. It's going to be between Espy, Medford, Cochran. Will White have a chance on it? Carnage in turns 1 and 2. There goes Medford to the outside of Espy. Cochran's going to have a major run, though. Who does he go with? He's the kingmaker. There's a hole to go 3 wide. Espy, Cochran. Cochran. 46 of Medford contact. Espy somehow maintains. It's going to come down to Cochran and White. Cochran and White, it's a battle. Can White in that red, white, and blue machine do anything? He's got a straightaway to do it. I think he might be out of steam unless he gets it the last minute. Cochran, that's Jacob Cochran in the 84 on his way to his first win of the Fall Creek Plumbing Grand National Series season at Talladega. Cochran, White, and Caleb Hunt finishes third. Wow, how about that finish, Chris?
What a finish right there. I don't even know where Jacob Cochran, Zach White, where did these guys come from? They just were the ones who survived there in the final closing moments of this race.
And when we use the word survive, Chris, I think that is a fair assessment based on what transpired in turns 1 and 2 after taking that white flag, because that was scary. I think if I'd been watching that crash in real life, I think we would have been pulling some tarps out on that one. But Jacob Cochran is your winner tonight. And we're going to hear from Jacob Cochran. We're going to hear from the other top 3 in this field. But your winner tonight in trivia is none other than Basic. The correct answer to the chat was an old airfield. Let me update that, Chris, before you pull it up. So it updates correctly if you haven't already done so. Let's see. All right, you should be able to update it now. Tasik, if you are watching still, you can email us. Our email address is going to come up on the top of that trivia box here in just a moment. ssracingleagues@gmail.com. Let us know what that address is so you can send it, or we can send that package your way. It was an old airfield. Talladega Superspeedway was built on an old airfield, and boy, we had some cars launch into the air like airplanes in that final crash, Chris.
Yeah, we sure did right there. And yeah, Tasik is the winner, even though the graphic came up as Caleb Hunt, so because he got that answer in a little bit quicker. So congratulations to Tasik, and congratulations to Jacob Cochran. Swedish fish all around, Ellis.
Right? I think that's a great reason for me to go get some Swedish fish. Let's pull in Jacob or Caleb Hunt into the chat right now. Let's see if we can't find him, if they've made their way over into the waiting room. There they are. All right. Hey, Caleb Hunt, Ellis and Chris in the Slingshot booth. You got a copy, my friend?
I do got a copy.
Woo. Boy, you've had a moment to catch your breath after that third place finish. I know you would have wanted to have a chance to run it out to the line and potentially get that win, but This was wild. Walk us through what felt like an endless race up till the very end.
Started out, I think the first caution I got caught up or something, got like big damage, and I had to just work on that little by little. Thank God that the track is like so big that I could get like more than like 30-40 seconds in. I got like, I want to say roughly about a minute 30-ish of repair done with cautions coming out. By the end of stage 2, I got the car repaired and all of that. I just wanted to chill in the back to avoid the big ones of when and where it was going to happen. I want to say with 20 laps to go, I got caught up in a big wreck. But thankfully I had a fast repair, and that saved me. So I just sat there in the back and I watched everyone like D and F one by one, which helped a lot in our case. But coming to the end, I don't know if y'all seen that. Oh my Lord, I was bobbing and weaving. My foot was on the gas until I saw that checker flag.
Man, when that broke out, you were in 14th position. You were in 14th position headed into turn 1. And you managed to get through that in one piece. I'm sure you probably couldn't even tell us. You mentioned bobbing and weaving. I don't think you could probably remember how it happened. It happened so fast, but man, hell of a job getting it through there from 14th to 3rd position. You just ducked it down the inside. You barely missed a couple cars, and you didn't end up on your roof, which could not be said for about 8 cars in that crash. So congratulations on that 3rd place finish, man. Before we let you go celebrate, any shout-outs for those watching at home?
Yeah, I want to thank my friends and family watching back home. I want to thank the last-minute spotter, Michael Wade, for coming in my ear in the last second for spotting me. I want to thank him. And, yeah, it's a crazy race.
It is a crazy race indeed, man. Caleb Hunt, good job out there tonight. Go celebrate that 3rd place finish, my friend.
Yep.
All right. So that was Caleb Hunt. We're now going to try to pull in Zach White. We're going to have to look for him in the chat real quick. All right, we're going to move him over. Chris, I'll let you take that away.
Zach White, our 2nd place finisher tonight. This is the Slingshot booth. You got a copy, bud?
Yeah, I got a copy.
Man, Zach, we saw you in the middle of all kinds of chaos here tonight. Most all of it, in fact, I would say all of it. You were just an innocent victim in it. Crazy, crazy race with a lot of crashing. How did you persevere, and how did you find yourself in 2nd position there on that final lap?
Your guess is good as mine. I just didn't let off the gas, kept it going, and somehow made it through.
You definitely made it through. You, like I said, you persevered all night because we saw you in the middle of all kinds of chaos out there tonight. A lot of damage on the front of that vehicle. Was it affecting the handling of that Ford?
At the end, I had aero damage, so I couldn't keep up, and that's why I never had anything for 1st place.
Gotcha. Well, hey, man, you did a great job of avoiding all the chaos and making it here to the end. We're going to see you next week at the Texas Motor Speedway. Looking forward to seeing you on the track out there. Congratulations on this 2nd place finish tonight. Before we let you go celebrate this great run, you got any shout-outs?
Royalty Motorsports, PJ Designs, and just everybody for throwing this Mystic Racing League together.
All right, bud. Well, hey, congratulations. You had that Folds of Honor Ford up there at the front when it counted at the end. That's Zach White, our 2nd place finisher tonight. Great run tonight, bud.
Thanks.
All right, that was Zach White. We're going to pull him back into the waiting room, and then we're going to hear from our winner, Jacob Cochran. Hey, Jacob Cochran, it's Ellis and Chris in the Slingshot booth. You got a copy?
I do.
Whew, that was a wild one, to say the least. I'm just trying to go back and see if I can't find out. Where did you restart on that final restart? Were you in the top 5, or were you beyond? Maybe 6th?
Yeah, I think we were 3rd, I believe.
3rd, okay.
Yeah, I was on the bottom.
Somehow you survived, oh boy, what was the longest race of the season so far, and what really boiled down to a race of attrition at the end. This felt like it was the most, plate tracks super speedway tracks tend to be this way, but this had the most aggression I think we've seen all season. Did you experience any close calls over the course of the race that maybe you thought might have ended your night?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it was just surviving. I mean, that was the number one thing. Even right there at the end, I mean, S3 got broken away, and I got a run, and I was trying to take it in the middle, and tried to back out of it, and I honestly thought I was going to wreck with them, but really, like I said, it's just surviving is the main thing.
Well, you survived, and you spent, honestly, much of the evening up front. Who did you work best with out there over the course of the evening in terms of the draft partner?
I mean, really towards the beginning of the race, Adam and number 8, we worked together pretty good, and then towards the end there, me and the 11, we were pretty bumper to bumper on every restart, so really just trying to find friends.
Man, you had them when it counted. You got up front. You stayed up front. And you managed to pull it off at the end. Man, it was an awesome night. You scored your first win of the season. You've been close a couple times. Congratulations. Before we let you go celebrate that win, you got any shout-outs?
No, just thanks to Mystic, and thanks to the National Series for putting this on.
Awesome. Jacob Cochran, congratulations on win number 1 of the season. Go celebrate it, bud.
Thank you.
All right, Chris, heard from our top 3 of what was an exciting, excitement-filled, thrill-filled, crash-filled race. 12 cautions on the evening. We finally got a winner. Jacob Cochran ran up front much of the night. We've seen him have speed over the course of the season. Chris, Adam Holston managed to actually, I'm looking at the finishing order right now. 12th place finish. We thought he was going to be set to take over the points lead. It might not be that cut and dry, but he made up a lot of ground on Evan Janick, the points leader tonight. Started 16 points back. He's going to be a lot closer to that rolling into Texas Motor Speedway next week. The championship picture, it's really beginning to come into focus. The drivers who are at the top of the class are emerging. They're making their names known in this Fall Creek Plumbing National Series. Texas next week, Chris. It's going to be a different type of race. We went from Bristol last week to Talladega to this week to Texas next week. What can we expect out of these National Series cars at Texas? What kind of race is it going to be?
It's going to be a little bit different than what we saw this week, hopefully. Yeah, it might see a little bit more strung out racing at Texas, and I think it's at the new Texas, if I'm not mistaken. So, going to see a very unique track in the sense that one end is very different than the other. One very high-banked end of the track, one more flatter, sort of almost old Kentucky-esque corner. It's a very unique speedway, very unique mile and a half. Should definitely be interesting. Jacob Cochran, man, what a great performance out of him tonight. Surviving, persevering. Ellis, he led 1 lap all night, but it was the most important lap, the final lap.
That final lap is the only one that matters. Jacob Cochran is your winner tonight. For everyone who tuned in over the course of the evening, or if you're watching the replay right now the next day, we appreciate you joining in. If you haven't hit that like button, that thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button. Give us all your love. It doesn't cost you a thing, and it helps us incredibly. We wouldn't be here without our fans. Folks, tune in Monday night. We've got more late model action coming for you. Next Thursday, the Mystic Racing League will be at Texas, and it's going to be a great weekend of racing next week. We hope everyone gets some sleep and has a great weekend and heads into next week in great shape. We'll see you live next Thursday from Texas. So long from Talladega, Alabama. Ellis Thomas and Chris Smith for Slingshot Racing Media. Good night, everybody.